enough for me? Is it good enough for you? Oh, we're on the wrong set. God damn it. Hold on. Is it this one? No, not that one. Nope, not that one. Nope, not that one. Oh, I know. It's this one. I just have to switch this. Hold on. Hold, please. Oh, shit. Okay, here we go. Wake and Bake title. No. Where's the other one? Oh, wait. That's not that. Now play. No, that's not it. No. Wait. Oh, I gotta fix this. I gotta clean up my shit. Clean up your shit. Nope, that's not it. Clean up. That's not it. That's not it. Oh my God, what happened? Wait, where's the Twice Baked? I'm like a little high. Hi, Haggard. How are you? Where have you been? Where have you been? What have you been doing? Hi, Oren. Good morning, my darling. How are you? Miss you. Love you. Hope you're doing good. Sister Mama. Mama Sister. Sister Mama. Hags. Hags. Wait, I gotta figure out this shit. Hold on. I'm so sorry. Wait, where's my fucking Wake and Bake? I'm so high. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Oh, God. That took way too long. Well, we miss you too, darling. Do you hear something? All right, hold on. Yeah, the space was good. I think something's talking to me, but I'm not really sure. I'm back! Guess who's back? Back again. Okay, so we have a couple things, actually. So what I had planned for today, I know, sorry, there's something playing in the background, and I think I know what it is. All right, is everybody If they were in trouble, I'd hear them screaming. Okay. Sorry. Whew. God, man. Hi. Twice baked. Probably more. Teresa! I know that space was good. I thought that space was good. Hi, Lee. Oh, yay. So, Lee, listen, the first thing I had for today, let me get this teed up because it's going to fucking sneak up on me and then I'm going to be upset. Hold on. The first thing I had teed up for today was this thing. The trade committee on it was a trade subcommittee hearing on American trade and negotiation priorities. Yes, we did cover the hearing this morning. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Oh my lord, look at what they're doing now. So yeah, this was what I had teed up. Now, the Intelligence Committee now has a counterterrorism and intelligence subcommittee markup that I'm a little curious about because I'm kind of wondering if they're going to talk about the stuff from this morning. So I think what I'm going to do is I kind of want to do this trade thing. And then we will probably come back to this Homeland Security thing, you know? So, where's Neil? Well, I had chops, salsa, and cream soda. Thought he would do a quick grocery delivery for me. Poor Neil. Oh, if you were not here this morning, I'm sorry I'm so loud. God, I'm so sorry. I'm very loud. Wow. I'm just going off the charts over there. So if you weren't here this morning, Neil from one of our Canadian friends, unfortunately spent $350 on groceries. And it wasn't the tariffs that did it. It was running a new stop sign, which resulted in a $335 ticket in addition to his $15 of groceries. And that's Neil. And that's what Neil did. Lee! Oh, I'm good. Oh, sorry. I'm glad. Good. Then you can just have it in the background and take a look. I'm not sure if is somebody making noise? Someone making noise? Oh, and then there's this thing, which is ongoing, but it's a markup, and it's just it's part of that. No, you're not shadow banned. Here you are. Or did you say something bad? I mean, YouTube always bans people. So I have another markup thing too. We've got a lot. So it may not, I don't know if we'll get through all of it, but I think we're going to start with the trade one because I'm kind of interested to hear them in terms of what is the priority? What is the trade negotiation priority? Is it just mass confusion? Is that what it is? I'm not sure. So, help us understand. Anyway, I know. F12. That's right, Muskie. F12. That's absolutely right. No. Never shadow banned here. So anyways, that's what's on tap for today. But I don't know. Nobody seems to be starting very on time. Everybody seems to be late. It wasn't bad at all. I said I missed this morning show and I'm going to play hooky to watch this one. I'm pretty sure you didn't say anything that's banned. I mean, I could have been in my Victorian age and banned the word hooky, but then you just type it. So I guess that's not really true, is it? Must be something else. I don't know. I can't. I promise you're not shadow banned, darling. I absolutely promise. I absolutely promise you. You're terribly welcome here. Yeah. So we did cover the hearing this morning. If you missed it, it is actually something that you should watch. I think one of the challenges in this environment is understanding where should I put my attention. Everyone's attention is very precious, and one of the weapons in this administration's quiver is to conflate and confuse and obfuscate and fill the zone with shit, as Steve Bannon likes to say. So, it's the shitter shadow ban. I think it extends to my entire life. That's it. That's what it is. Elmo runs everything. He probably does. No, he probably doesn't, actually. But anyway, this morning it was quite an interesting hearing. It's so unfortunate that Secretary of Defense Hegseth wasn't there. Of course, this was just supposed to be a routine annual briefing on worldwide threats to the Senate Intelligence Committee. 4-hour wait. I mean, that was the way under Biden too, by the way. So the phone lines at Social Security office have always been crap, frankly. Hi, Neil, you're back. Your ears were buzzing. We were talking about you. I turned your unfortunate situation this morning into a bit. I'm so sorry, Neil. Yeah, there's the offender. But we were swearing down the police on your behalf, so don't worry about that. We got you. We got your back. Okay, I don't know why none of this has started. Like, what's wrong with you people? What are we paying you for? What are we paying you for? These guys haven't even started. What the hell? You guys are late. I'd rather be 15 minutes early than 1 minute late. That's what I used to always tell myself. Yeah, so this morning, well, here's what I will say. I really do want to get the transcript from this morning, because at one point it was really questionable as to whether or not, in fact, you know what? I'm going to open another window here and see if I can figure that out. At one point, it was clear that Tulsi Gabbard either said there wasn't any classified information in the signal chain, or there was classified information. And I think she switched her story at some point. Angus King kind of did an uncharacteristic, Pepperidge Farm remembers, and basically shouted her out. So I'm kind of curious if there's any reporting on the actual. I suppose we can go to C-SPAN and get the actual transcript. Briefing. Here we go. Gabbard and Ratcliffe face Senate hearing on Signal on group chat mishap. Oh, it's a mishap? Oh, interesting. Is that what we call that now? Huh. It used to be called dereliction of duty, but I don't know. What do I know? I don't know anything. Let's see. Someone pull these guys out of the K-hole and get them back to destroying the country. If for real. For real. What is going on? Oh my God. It's an oopsie. Yeah, is it an oopsie? Is that what it is? It's an oopsie to put troops' lives in danger? It's an oopsie to put your military force, your most precious resource. It's okay to put those people in danger because you're just too lazy to ask who JG is? Like, who is JG? That would have been a good question for one of these people to ask. Just one. It wouldn't have had to be everybody. But Ratcliffe has been around for a minute. He knows better. Marco Rubio? I don't think Marco Rubio was even looking at his phone. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Yeah, my bad. Now, the best part of it is basically I surmise that they threw Hegseth under the bus, reversed it, rolled back over him, and then drove back over him again. That's my take of what happened this morning. So, there's that. Wait, what? Jane, only had to pay a third. He was a soft-spoken guy. Who are we talking about? Neil, if you want, try fighting your ticket. Worked for me when I deserve them. They'll greatly reduce them. My dad even went and asked for a reduction of me for 1 to 2 times. One time was for drinking underage. Only had to pay a third. He was a soft-spoken guy, not a lawyer type. Yeah, I do think if you fight things, they'll generally. It just depends on you. That's kind of a hefty ticket, though. My goodness. Gosh. $135. I mean, even with the exchange rate, that's a lot of money. Really? Oh, see, I don't think little Marco's going to be the fall guy right away. No, little Marco dug in. He quadrupled down yesterday in the last 2 days. So, not yesterday, because he didn't really comment yesterday about the Signal chat. But he should go down. But I think Hegseth, gone. Because he's easy, right? He's a problem child anyway. You know, he's too loosey-goosey. He's a fucking idiot. And they can easily replace him, right? He's so expendable. So expendable. He does always look like a hostage, doesn't he? The chuds under the bus go round and round, round and round. He does always look scared. He does look scared. But yeah, I think Marco's going to hang in there a little bit more. I do. I think he's going to hang in there just a little bit more. I don't know why I'm screaming. I think he's going to hang in there, but I think Hegseth, you're gone, sweetheart. You are gone. Now, Kash Patel, okay, he was one unfortunate Signal chat away from being in the hot seat because I think he's also very expendable. All right? He's out there busy saying, I arrested 7 people in Akron. Look at me in my vest. So he's like Mr. Photo Op. That's all he is, all over the place. Pam Bondi is the angry school marm. Okay, that's her job. She's the one that goes, that's right. I said do it, and I meant it. Yeah. You know, flipping the Amazon hair, which, okay, I have Amazon hair, okay. Come for me. Trump mulling Hegseth pardon? You're kidding me, Max. Oh my God. Okay, well, I'm from NBC. In an exclusive interview with NBC News, Donald Trump said he is standing by National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, whose team Trump said was responsible for adding Goldberg to the chat. Mwah. Wah, wah. Oh, and I really also there's the Trump's nominee for the Social Security Administration was testifying this morning. I had intended for us to watch some of that. So, oh boy, I feel like I might have to do another twice bake tomorrow in order to catch up on a couple of these because I'd like to hear what they have to say. Maybe we'll just try and get some sound bites on it, or maybe actually, is it this one? Where is it? Do 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 do. Just want to see if there's any breaking news. Breaking news. Oh, I still feel like there is a lot of breaking news. Okay, let's see. Do 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 do. Nope. 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 Ron Johnson says military plans leak is obviously not a good look. Yeah, that's one way of putting it, Ron. Yeah, that's one way. Let's see what else. Let me see one thing. Oh, actually, you know what I'll do? Let me see if this. God, why don't they? I put a better description on my videos than these guys put on theirs. I'm just sorry. Sorry, everybody. Get out of there. Okay. Let me see. We'll see. We'll check in with these guys.
Committee have lamented the inefficiency of the federal bureaucracy.
Oh, this is codifying doggy cuts.
Against the waste, fraud, and abuse the bureaucracy generates during both Republican and Democrat administrations. The federal government has expanded dramatically since the early years of our republic. Today, there are more than 400 executive branch agencies and sub-agencies and roughly 1,000 federal commissions. Most of these entities are relatively new creations. They did not exist for most of our nation's history. Not only has the government grown in size and complexity, but it has also taken on many functions once handled by the states or the private sector. Over time, the expansion of entities and programs has led to an increasingly complex bureaucracy with a massive amount of overlap and duplication. For instance, the Government Accountability Office recently found 43 job training programs scattered across 9 different federal agencies. That's just one of dozens of areas of wasteful duplication GAO has identified across a range of federal activities. Since 2011, GAO's report on government duplication and overlap has found more than $667 billion in potential cost savings from proposed efficiency reforms. The President has considerable authority within existing law to reorganize certain government offices and functions. But some reorganizations do require changes in law. Throughout our nation's history, such reorganization legislation typically originated from the White House. That's in part because for much of the 20th century, presidential reorganization proposals requiring changes in law were granted special consideration.
That is a weird reamendment. I mean, I don't mind having an investigation, but I mean, it should be fairly easy to have this investigation, frankly.
Of 1984 to renew and extend the special consideration through December 2026. This reorganization authority has not been active since 1985, despite several presidents, including Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama, having asked Congress to renew the authority as this bill would do. Under H.R. 1295, a reorganization plan must be considered via an up or down vote on a joint resolution of approval within 90 calendar days. This joint resolution is highly privileged, expedited.
The subcommittee will come to order. Thank you to the subcommittee members and certainly our witnesses today for joining us For the second Trade Subcommittee hearing of the 119th Congress, this hearing is another opportunity for members to articulate their trade priorities ahead of the significant steps we anticipate in the implementation of President Trump's America First trade policy in April. First and foremost, I am confident we will build upon the historic trade negotiation successes of President Trump's first term. In 4 years, the Trump administration was able to fundamentally alter the trajectory of U.S. trade policy through new agreements with our top trading partners, including the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA as we know, the China Phase 1 Agreement, and the United States-Japan Trade Agreement. These agreements tore down a litany of tariff and non-tariff barriers facing American farmers, manufacturers, and service providers to level the playing field for American industry and workers. They achieved fair and reciprocal treatment for the U.S. and enjoyed substantial support within Congress, among my constituents, and with many stakeholders across our country. Further, President Trump sought to continue this momentum through comprehensive trade negotiations with the UK and Kenya, both of which were strongly supported by many of the members here today and on both sides of the aisle. Unfortunately, this progress was hindered by a passive trade agenda during the last 4 years. Meaningful talks with the UK and Kenya were stalled or replaced with, quote, frameworks and dialogues, end quote, and effective enforcement of most aspects of our trade agreements was put on hold. Meanwhile, our adversaries forged ahead. China remains active throughout the world, striking new trade agreements which spread its malign influence and shape the global economy according to its priorities. Further, our friends and allies put in place new discriminatory barriers against our companies and producers with little fear of a strong U.S. response. This is why I'm appreciative of the Trump administration's renewed engagement with our trading partners starting day one. This engagement will be key to new bilateral or sectoral trade agreement negotiations while conducting a comprehensive assessment of global tariff and non-tariff barriers to prioritize through trade negotiations. Our witnesses here today represent a wide range of sectors within the economy, including agriculture, manufacturing, and services. I look forward to hearing from all of you as you highlight opportunities and barriers which need to be addressed through strategic trade negotiations. I will note, while this sector is not directly represented on today's panel, there are also significant opportunities to increase U.S. energy exports. I'm very glad to see President Trump's leadership in increasing U.S. energy dominance. I am proud to represent Nebraska's 3rd District, which leads the nation in agriculture production. Producers in my district know firsthand how critical trade is, especially considering American farmers and ranchers face the highest tariffs. With trade agreements which eliminate these barriers, our farmers thrive. For example, among our top 5 beef export destinations, American producers receive preferential tariff treatment through existing trade agreements with 4 of them. When given a level playing field, American producers win. The same is true for manufacturing. Today we'll hear from Harley-Davidson about some egregious tariff barriers facing American motorcycle exports. When American companies can grow and compete, both at home and abroad,
maybe build a better
culture,
motorcycle,
increase global ties, and strengthen our economy. With fair treatment abroad, American manufacturing can thrive and exports will grow. Without it, American workers and consumers are harmed. In services, America is the clear global leader. We rely on fair treatment and access to markets abroad to maintain our competitive edge. A robust services sector strengthens our economy and allows American manufacturing and agriculture to thrive, increasing jobs and growing our economy. The challenges and opportunities in each of these sectors make clear we must get back to the negotiating table and do so from a position of strength. I look forward to working with Ambassador Greer and Secretary Lutnick to build on areas of success in our current trade agreements while moving forward aggressively to enforce all aspects of those agreements and eliminate additional barriers to U.S. exports around the world. I now recognize Ranking Member Ms. Sanchez for her opening statement.
Thank you, Chairman Smith, for holding today's hearing, and I want to thank all of our witnesses for being here today. As the ranking member of the Trade Subcommittee, I want to see new trade agreements with partners committed to advancing worker rights, protecting the environment, providing access to medicines, defending human rights, safeguarding our intellectual property, fighting against corruption, and creating the conditions for fair competition. But this cannot be done without a trusted negotiating partner in the White House, one who thinks solely about what's best for the American people and its workers, and a Republican Party ready to stand with us to protect the Constitution and the rule of law. Since our last Trade Subcommittee hearing only a month ago, President Trump has recklessly thrown around tariff.
We're going to go to this. It looks like they're approaching.
The week before last week's vote not to shut the government down has seemed to create something of a civil war among the Democrats. And as they're sort of hashing that out, figuring out their path forward, we're going to continue to stay focused on our agenda.
Sorry.
And this week is getting the president's people into place, continuing to process nominations so that the president has his team ready and ready to go to work. We'll continue working that. We're going to be working on unwinding a lot of the Biden administration's burdensome regulations through the Congressional Review Act process. And obviously, we're going to stay very focused on budget reconciliation, which is part of the president and our agenda as we head forward. And we had a good conversation about that at our lunch just now, and we're going to continue to be talking about this with our members and having the end goal in mind. And that end goal is coming up with a budget reconciliation bill in the end that extends the existing tax
This is the idiots.
Tax
this is the
at the end of this year, unlocking and restoring America's
GOP bitch.
dominance, rebuilding
Isn't that
our
Thune?
military, and making sure that our border is secure. Those are the
I don't know. I can't remember the name of the pinhead behind him.
Reconciliation bill, and that's consistent with the president's agenda and with what the American people voted for in November.
Yeah,
So
bullshit.
that's
They
where
didn't
we're
vote for
right
this,
now.
honey bun.
And,
Okay,
obviously,
give me a
as
break.
as we move forward, we'll be talking closely, working closely with our counterparts in the House of Representatives and with the president and his team in putting this together.
These are pretty
But it
words.
draws a stark contrast with what the Democrats want to see. And that
Yeah,
clearly
okay.
is a $4.5 trillion tax increase at the end of the year.
Right,
A lot
okay.
more government spending.
No, I
and,
think Dems are
obviously,
coming out,
what
actually.
we've had for the last 4 years.
Senators comment on
We
the
think that,
group
we're
chat
really
leak, so you're not wrong.
clear contrast between us and the Democrats and what the American people legally voted for in November. So, questions?
Leader, with this text change, there was some indication that officials didn't think much of the Europeans. Doesn't that problem with this antipathy for the Europeans underscore issues for this administration dealing with our allies?
Well, I mean, I think obviously we're getting to the bottom of what that whole text chain entailed, and I think obviously people are asking questions and they deserve answers. But I think that the United States right now is the recognized world leader, and I think the president's moves
And
on
leaking
those states,
shit.
including the initiative against the Houthis in Yemen, demonstrates that this is a new administration. There's a new sheriff in town, and at some point, I think the Europeans and the other countries around the world, whether they like it or not, realize that. And I think they have.
Is it a sheriff that leaks everything?
You know, if they want to have the U.S.'s support, they've got to do their fair share as well. I think that's the message the president has delivered to our European allies, and some of them don't like it. But they've been riding on the U.S. for way too long, and it's time for them to step up and do more.
Doesn't that publicly harm our relationship with them?
Well, any text change that are exchanged privately, I think you have to put that into context for what it is. I think
Oh,
you have
really?
to
The
look at what
context?
president says,
What would be the context of that?
the people around him are saying on these issues of foreign policy and national security, and not text messages that were obviously probably inappropriate.
On reconciliation, you have a goal of doing more than $3 trillion in cuts. You want to extend the Trump tax cuts. Democrats have said that you can't do that without impacting the entire workforce. Can you guarantee at this stage of the negotiations that no one's Social Security benefits will be impacted at the end of this?
Well, Social Security is not eligible for consideration under reconciliation, so that doesn't get touched. And the president has made certain statements with respect to Medicare and Medicaid. And so as we look at this process,
Certain statements?
Where can we find savings that are associated with waste, fraud, and abuse in some of these government programs, notwithstanding what the program
Wait.
is.
Oh,
And I
you
think
can't hear
every
anything?
American expects us to
Sorry.
root out. If there are programs that people are qualifying for or using or abusing in a fraudulent way, that ought to be, we ought to be taking care of that.
What?
I think
Oh.
both Republicans and Democrats and anybody else in this country would agree with that sentiment. I think at the end of the day, what is going to happen in reconciliation is we're going to have to figure out how to extend the tax policy. And remember, this is extending existing tax policy. There's some other things the president wants to do in the context of that, all of which we think will be additive to the economy. When the economy is growing, expanding, creating better paying jobs, typically what happens is you get more government revenue, not less. In fact, the rule of thumb generally is about for every 1% increase in GDP, $3 trillion in revenue over a 10-year period. So growth it's not sustainable. I mean, these deficits, we can't continue this, and so we've got to start making some of the hard decisions. And I think you need to look at every area of the budget, but bear in mind, obviously, that programs like Social Security and Medicare are incredibly important. But if they're, even in those areas, if there's waste, fraud, and abuse, then I think those are areas.
You know, I'll show you where your waste, fraud, and abuse is. Here we go.
So should there be a full Senate investigation into this? Would you support a Senate investigation?
Well, I think that's happening
Oops.
already. I think the hearing's still going on in the Senate Intelligence Committee today. I mean, they're up here. At least two of the relevant players in that conversation were in front of the Senate Intelligence Committee for a very long period of time in an open setting.
No, they're not. They're not in an open setting.
I suspect the Armed Services Committee may want to have some folks testify and have some of the questions answered as well. I think everybody has acknowledged, including the White House, that mistakes were made. And what we want to do is make sure that something like that doesn't happen again.
Right. Yeah. Don't want it to happen again. Not again, you guys.
So if you just look at a handful of tax breaks that are important to your small businesses and farmers, bonus depreciation, small business pass-through, the death tax, extending those across $3.5 billion.
It's a tax question. Lower corporate tax rates.
Tax cuts here, Social Security. You just have to see how it fits anything, so you get anything extension, just a straight extension of 2017 jobs cuts and tax act. Do you disagree with that? And if so, how do you see this getting paid for? Fitting us?
Oh, he's asking him to pay for the tax cut.
Again, you'll have to just forgive me for being kind of playing inside Washington here, but what we are doing by extending existing tax policy is just that. You're extending the law as it has existed for the last 8 years, since 2017.
It's the existing laws as it's existed.
Have to be offset or paid for, as you say. If you're doing new things, that are creating new tax policy or new spending.
I have a lot of anger with journalists right now, and I understand, but I don't care. They're the ones standing there. I'm not standing there. They're not asking the right questions. They're not asking the follow-up questions. Thanks, Gal, for the nameplates. I believe she created that nameplate. Fraud, waste, and abuse.
And that doesn't change anything. That's basically status quo going forward.
Yeah, existed. It's the existence of them existed, and they still exist today. It's in existence today.
Other committees of jurisdiction look at the
It
broader
exists.
conversation about reconciliation. Obviously, we're going to be looking at how
can you stand by and have every level of the executive branch and the Department of Defense and the intelligence community involved in a text chain that releases the names of war plans so that it puts our troops in danger? What confidence do we have that this is the only breach of confidential information? What confidence can you give us, Senator, that this is the only breach? My God. I get it. It's hard. They won't answer, whatever. But I don't even see them all being asked at all. All right, we're gonna go to we're gonna make that a little smaller. Find this. Hold on. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, so that's that. And now I need this. Ay. Okay, so this
authority against our closest trading partners. Congress delegated national security and trade authority to prior presidents under the belief that they could be trusted with that power. But in less than 70 days, we have seen how President Trump distorts and weaponizes that delegated authority to serve his own interest, settle old scores, and most alarming of all, to destabilize America's economic and security standing in the world. The president's trade wars have trampled the rule of law and the legal framework American businesses rely on for trade with Canada and Mexico. As we will hear from Mr. Jonathan Root today,
everyone.
the president's
Welcome back
trade war
to Twice
prompted
Baked
Canada
with Lolo.
to retaliate with a 25%
I think I might have to
tariff
speed them
on
up a
all
little
American
bit.
motorcycles, including union-made Harleys from Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. American businesses, including the creative industry, are fighting trade barriers in Canada and Mexico have been just one casualty of this trade war. And to top it all off, the president appears hell-bent on acquiring Greenland, annexing Canada, and pillaging the natural resources of our trading partners. The administration's gutting of federal agencies has also hurt American businesses who rely on them to enforce worker and environmental rights. We cannot afford to have the federal government stop advocating for American ranchers and farmers facing SPS barriers overseas, for U.S. service providers fighting technical trade barriers, and for creative and tech sectors facing intellectual property theft abroad. President Trump's attempt to circumvent Congress, dismantle our federal government, and act as the sole arbiter of the U.S. trade policy are an assault on the constitutional norms that have guided congressional leadership on trade since the beginning of America's founding. I look forward to hearing from Professor Clausen about the importance of congressional authority over trade. House Democrats should not stand alone in fighting to reassert our congressional authority. I want to remind my Republican colleagues that last Congress, this committee unanimously approved legislation sponsored by Chairman Jason Smith, noting a president lacks the authority to enter into binding trade agreements absent approval from Congress. If President Trump seeks to enter into a binding trade agreement with any country,
That's all
he
changed
must
now.
seek congressional approval. House Democrats are willing to work across the aisle to craft trade agreements that can garner broad bipartisan support in Congress. During the first Trump administration's renegotiation of NAFTA, House Democrats fought for better labor and environmental standards, access to medicines, and closing enforcement loopholes. Despite the president's initial pushback, we created a new facility-specific labor enforcement mechanism that has delivered real gains for workers in America and abroad. We were successful in making these demands because the president knew he needed congressional votes to approve his updated NAFTA. I hope this hearing will be an opportunity for this body to lay out bipartisan priorities in trade negotiations and reclaim congressional prerogatives. I look forward to hearing the testimony from our witnesses, and I thank the chairman and yield back the remainder of my time.
Thank you. Now I have the pleasure of introducing our witnesses for today's hearing. Robbie Kirkland is chairman of the Texas Cattle Feeders Association. Jonathan Root is chief financial officer and president of Commercial for Harley-Davidson, Inc. Meredith Broadbent is non-resident senior advisor, economics program, and Scholl chair in international business at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Christine Bliss is president of the Coalition of Services Industries, and Kathleen Clausen is professor of law at the Georgetown University Law Center. Thank you all for sharing your perspectives, your insights, and certainly promotion of some great American products, whether it's beef or some motorcycles. Glad to say that
if this is what we're doing, I'm not staying for it. Come on now. Get to the meat of the matter.
There's great things happening across America right now, even amid some of the struggles that exist. But I hope to, and I know we will hear good perspectives moving forward here from our witnesses as you can share your insights.
Okay, wait. We've got
The light you will see.
We've got a Schumer sighting.
Social security and national security. First, yesterday, Senate Democrats, alongside all other Americans, found that the Defense Secretary shared classified war plans in a group chat with the CIA Director, National Security Advisor, and Vice President of the United States. For the Defense Secretary to coordinate war plans in such a haphazard and dangerous way puts our national security, our troops, and every single American at risk. Even after the administration confirmed the authenticity of the texts, Secretary Hegseth continued to deflect and blame the reporter. He does something really damaging to national security, and he blames the reporter who his people sent the information to. What goal? This is the Secretary of Defense. This is the man leading our troops into battle and is meant to protect Americans and our national security at all costs. The Senate, as well as all relevant authorities within the executive branch, must investigate this incident fully. fully. We need the Senate to do it. I hope Senator Thune will join me in that. We also need the IG of the DOD to do it as well.
Is there an IG?
As Senate Republicans scramble to defend Hegseth from endangering our national security,
Is it Ginny
the
Thomas?
administration continues to gut Social Security right in front of our very eyes. Social Security was already at its lowest staff level in decades, but instead of working to make sure seniors get their hard-earned benefits, Trump, Musk, and Doge are laying off more than 7,000 Social Security workers. These are the people who answer the questions for seniors, make sure they're getting the proper benefits
He was very
as quickly
nervous.
as possible. Some offices have reported waits, most offices of many hours. Some, I heard one instance, 5-hour wait. Someone waited on the phone. On top of
I
gutting
got
the
news for them.
workforce,
It's never been great.
Trump, Musk,
Okay.
Doge are trying to close the regional field offices. Up to 60% of regional offices are being shut down. Social Security serves 73 million Americans. Over 30 million of those go into their local offices each year, more than close to half. How does closing offices and firing thousands of workers help seniors and the disabled get benefits? What they're trying to do,
Yeah,
what they're
Hegseth
trying
should
to
resign.
do
He's putting American
is
troops
erode
in
away
danger.
the American dream, rigging the
All of
system
them
for
should resign.
billionaires while stealing from American families and elderly in order to make tax cuts for the rich. Let's be very clear. What's happening right now in Social Security is a benefit cut. A benefit cut. Fewer people will get benefits because of what they've done. This is another way of killing Social Security, plain and simple. They're shutting off phone lines, closing down field offices, firing people. It's clear what they're doing.
Oh, here we
They
go,
can't
Lee.
outwardly cut
Lee
benefits
has an update.
because it would be so unpopular. They're just making it harder for you to get benefits. Same thing, different route, same nasty result.
To say bullshit.
Americans aren't falling for it.
No, Schumer's
Today, the
he's
Washington
done.
Post showed that while Elon Musk is claiming massive waste at the agency, he has no evidence to back that up. He just wants to kill the program one way or another. Why are they doing this? Why would they do this? This is so politically unpopular. Because a clique of billionaires just control what the government is doing. They don't care about people. You heard what Lutnick said the other day. If you miss your check, but it doesn't matter. Well, that's true if you have a billionaire son-in-law, but it's not true for people who depend on the check each month, each week, each day, for their food.
You had to call
for
to
their
make an
medicine.
appointment for a phone conversation?
So, today was SAA nominee Frank Bisignano's hearing. Ron will talk about it. But
Oh, good.
given
I wanna
his
hear about
history,
that.
He used to be sent into companies to slash personnel. And the administration slash and burn policy, it should be an easy vote. Any Republican who votes yes on Bisignano is voting to cut Social Security for our seniors. Any Republican who votes yes on Bisignano is voting to cut Social Security for our seniors. Time is short to stop permanent damage to
I look
Social
like I have a
Security
migraine?
administration.
No, I don't.
If Republicans
I'm just
continue
like-
to do nothing,
I'm sorry. I don't
political
mean to look like
backlash
that.
will be unprecedented. Senator Wyden.
Thank you, Leader Schumer. And I'm going to be brief and just touch on a couple of key issues. First, this nominee for Social Security is up to his eyeballs in
I never
dope.
have, but now I do.
And today, we demonstrated that he did not tell the truth about his track record with respect to Social Security. He claimed, for example, that he had no
Definitely high as a
involvement
kite.
with Doge in
Good
terms of
reminder.
insisting that people be embedded who are close to Doge, who be part of watering down people's protections for their data, and a very senior.
I mean, I love him, but
ex-Social
my
Security person
God.
basically said
Little
that he lied.
foundation,
We're happy to
little-
make that
little
statement
primer.
available to all of you. We made it part of the record.
Little glow up.
Today.
Come on,
But
Ron.
The
Little glow up.
reality is that there are some areas
That's
where
Ron
seniors
Wyden,
are just
isn't it?
terrified
Ron Wyden?
right now, and it starts with the phone system. And I asked him repeatedly, for example, if he would take some of the common sense steps that are necessary to get phone service, back. And as far as I can tell, he thinks that AI is a silver bullet. And I pointed out to him when he came in as well that a lot of seniors are not exactly signing up for chatbots and looking for all these so-called fixes. And my God,
that's what he
I wouldn't
needs.
want to see somebody like United Healthcare involved in
It's
this
like $8
particular area of,
at your local
services.
corner
So
drugstore.
what this is really all about in terms of Musk and this nominee is they want to hollow out Social Security. They want to hollow
he just
out
had a
the
grape
essential
soda. Leave him
functions that
alone.
the government has performed, and then say, "Oh my goodness,
That's
we've
crazy,
got to get
Max.
some private contractors in." So what I can tell you is, what the Senate Finance Committee heard today was what I call a prelude to privatization. Because what you do is you set it up this way. You start dismantling the government functions, then you go to private contractors. All of a sudden, you've got something that's completely privatized. This nominee said he knew nothing about privatization. I urge all of you to look at the statement from the whistleblower, because that statement indicates that we've got big problems with DOSH right now in terms of they're looking at private data that is basically the Fort Knox of American data systems, and we're not going to have the ability to protect people as we ought to. So this is a crucial kind of time. I'm doing everything I can to mobilize
I agree,
attention,
Pep.
to this,
If you got it,
because
bring it.
in terms of phone systems and offices and personnel, I asked him again and again if he would take some common sense steps to actually help terrified seniors, and he basically said he was too busy. He said, we're going to have to do that another time. Thank you, Senator Schumer.
Senator Reid. At this moment, the White House and Secretary Hegseth are trying desperately to underplay an extraordinary blunder. We cannot overstate how serious of a disaster it is. If an American service member texted classified information about an active military operation to an unknown number on an unclassified app, they would be dismissed, investigated, and prosecuted. But the White House says
Were these
there was
government
no
phones?
classified intelligence
Were these government
in
phones?
this signal group. If that's true, the administration should immediately provide a copy of the group chat to Congress and the American people.
Right.
So
If it's
we
not
can make
classified,
our own determination.
there should be no problem.
I also understand that the messages in this signal chat were set to erase themselves after a certain amount of time.
What?
This would be a violation of federal records preservation laws.
Holy shit
As
balls.
such, the administration must preserve and provide a full transcript of these
I have to. I'm a little confused
Put simply,
by that too, Lee.
this has been one of the most egregious failures of operational security and common sense that I have ever seen.
Thank you, Max.
Up until now, military operations have been handled with the utmost discretion, using approved, secured lines of communication, because American lives are on the line. We need
Nixon's
answers and
like,
accountability
you guys got this.
immediately.
You
We
guys,
should be
you're all
grateful
set.
for
Oliver
the
North
fact
is
that
like,
it was Jeffrey Goldberg, a responsible
I'm a rookie.
reporter, and
I'm
not
a rookie.
foreign adversary who received this intelligence. Had this information been available to the Houthis in advance of the strikes, it could not only have allowed them to seek shelter, but it could also have
I don't
allowed
know,
them
Pepper.
to reposition anti-aircraft weapons that have put the lives of our aviators and other service members at risk. Taking a step back, all of this happened as the Trump administration systematically degrades America's national security in multiple ways. And I hope our Republican colleagues will join us in demanding answers and
Yeah, he did. He
accountability
granted a lot
for
of
this
Venezuelans
country.
TPS on the way
To
out.
quote Secretary Hegseth himself talking about the mishandling of classified documents, quote, if at the very top there is no accountability, then two tiers of justice exist. There must be one tier of justice, and Mr. Hegseth should follow that path of justice. Secretary Hegseth, however,
I mean, it's going to be fun to get rid of Hegseth, but he's not the
went
problem.
forward
I mean, he's
and
just one of the
deliberately sent
problems.
the details of a military strike package, including the movement of U.S. service members in an active combat zone on an unclassified app, without confirming who the recipients were. I can't imagine that this information was not classified. President Trump has long advocated for accountability and transparency in the government, particularly as it relates to national security and the safety of American servicemen. As such,
He's definitely
I
a
trust
problem,
he will
but
address
he's
this
one among
breach
many.
with the seriousness and the diligence
But it'd be good to
that
get him out.
demands.
Like, they need
I
that.
again request Secretary Hegseth to submit a full transcript of his signal messages to the Armed Services Committee. There is no legitimate basis for him to withhold.
He's just a clown.
information
They'll replace him with
that
another clown
he
who will be
claims
equally
is
dangerous.
unclassified and has
Okay?
already been shared with a journalist. And I urge
But his
a
role is
bipartisan
as clown.
investigation and swift action. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, right here.
Who knows what other conversations have been ongoing?
Pardon? Look, what he did is despicable. We need a complete and thorough investigation, both by the IG within DOD, but also the Senate and the House. The Senate, Democrats and Republicans should look into this and have a full investigation. Republicans should not turn their head the other way with something so serious.
You used your dad voice.
Second Lady Usha Vance will be making a visit to Greenland soon, and this comes at a time when President Trump has talked about annexing Greenland and bringing it into the United States. What do you make of this visit, and do you support the administration's talk and rhetoric about acquiring what they're
Look,
doing with
they
Canada?
constantly try to divert attention because what
Exactly.
they're doing is so unpopular with the American people. Cutting Social Security, cutting Medicare, cutting Medicaid, all to give taxes to their wealthy friends.
And
It's very
butterflies.
unpopular, so they're constantly looking for smoke screens. Yes.
Speaker Johnson brought up the idea of defunding courts today, and I wondered if you had a response, given that it just in theory.
It is
Under rescission, right?
It is outrageous to even think of defunding the courts. The courts are the bulwark against Trump, and the Republicans can't stand it. But that's our system of laws. We will fight in every way
Wow.
to keep funding the courts.
But she laughed too much.
Republicans argue that the Social Security system is antiquated, that the computer system needs to be updated, that it would actually serve these recipients better. Do you think there's any merit to that?
Go ahead
Tell
and
that to
update the
73
systems.
million Americans who believe
That's
and need
ridiculous.
Social Security. Tell that to the millions of people who are not getting answers, who have their offices closed so they can't get their checks. They are so wrong on Social Security.
Scooter Libby's like,
Thought they
I'm an
had learned their
angel,
lesson.
okay?
They have not.
Have you spoken to AOC, your New York colleague, recently?
Have you decided to step down so that we can have somebody younger and more energetic? Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, let's get this one. Boop. Oh, okay, so they're done. All right, sweet. We love that. We love it when they're done. Okay, you know what? I'm going to cut a little bit ahead here and see who's Mr. Kirkland. Who are you, Mr. Kirkland? Anyway, this is going to be on 125 speed. Oops, we can't be against his bald head. Hold on. Well, Scooter Libby, yeah, exactly. All the bad people are just like, meh. Oh, 73 IGs was the total, minus 17. Okay, so there still are some. I wonder what they're thinking these days, you know? I wonder what the existing inspectors general are thinking in terms of what this means for them, really. What are the Joint Chiefs of Staff thinking? What are the Joint Chiefs of Staff thinking? Is there any other State Department briefing today or anything? I want to make sure. Sorry, I don't mean to jump around. I'm doing a terrible job of this wake and bake, but I'm also just trying to catch up with this. What's that? Oh, this is okay. So the Homeland Security thing started. I just can't. I'm so excited about everything. Not really.
Annually on the accreditation.
This is a markup from the Counterterrorism and Intelligence Subcommittee I wanted to listen to.
Accredited.
I'm so sorry. We're all crazy
that are not
here.
accredited, DHS must report the reasons for obtaining or maintaining accreditation.
In the meantime, I'm just going to make sure there aren't any other briefings from departments.
Accreditation and the expected timeline to achieve accreditation. My bill also directs DHS to engage in research to help state, local, tribals, and territorial law enforcement officers better access training opportunities, including those that enhance national preparedness and responses to terrorism. Our brave law enforcement officers deserve our very best. My bill will improve the law enforcement training program to give officers the tools to continue to keep our communities safe. I want to thank all of my colleagues for your consideration and support of this bill. Mr. Chairman, thank you so very much. I yield back.
I thank the gentlelady. Does anyone else wish to speak on the bill? Are there any amendments to the bill? Hearing none, the question is on reporting the bill, H.R. 2285, to the full committee with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Pursuant to notice, I now call up H.R. 2259, the National Strategy for School Security Act of 2025. The bill was circulated in advance and printed copies are available. The clerk shall designate.
H.R. 2259, offered by Mr. Tony Gonzalez of Texas.
Without objection, the first reading of the bill is dispensed with and is considered read and open to amendment at any point. The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gonzalez, is now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm pleased that the subcommittee has convened today to mark up H.R. 2259, the bipartisan National School Safety, the National Strategy for School Security Act. Over 3 years ago, we had the worst shooting in Texas history in Uvalde, in my district. At that time, we were scrambling. I remember very vividly, I got a call from the gentleman sitting next to me, Morgan Luttrell, and he asked me, what could I do? What could he do to help? I previously had gotten a call from local law enforcement, and they didn't have a place to sleep that night. And so I asked him, I'm like, yeah, you can help me by helping get 100 cots. And guess what? The next day, magically, Morgan Luttrell was in Uvalde, Texas, delivering 100 cots. Why do I tell that story? It's not fair. I was a newly minted member of Congress, and he was a private citizen. It's not fair that that was the response that was needed during that time. Since then, there was a critical incident review that took place.
Oh my God, we're all over the place. I love this.
Indicated some of the things that could be fixed.
It's a mess.
But honestly, nothing has changed.
Great.
If the same thing were to occur in his district, he'd be calling, or I'd be calling him and asking him what I could do to help. We have a duty and an obligation to review and take these reports and findings
there's a veterans bill. Oh
my bill
God.
Does exactly that. The bill requires better federal coordination efforts across our agencies. The lack of coordination at the federal level has been highlighted as a major shortcoming in school security posture. I'm very
sorry to tell you this, but you're too boring for us. We need more. We need more. We need more. This is the judiciary. This is the judiciary. Yeah, the NRA wrote that. The Saudis are fueling Trump's beef with the Venezuela. Most of the refineries in Texas and Louisiana are set up for Venezuelan crude because it is a short hop. You know, that's what Lee was bringing up earlier in the chat. I don't know if it was this morning or this one, in terms of what the beef is with, I know we hunger for gravitas, right? You need to keep our attention, okay? If you don't catch our attention in the first few minutes, we don't have time for you. There's too much news. But this is the, let's see, this is the, what is this about? Is this like the platforms? Oh, this is the only thing I don't like about this kind of stuff is, I know. Jonathan Turley. Bleh. Yeah, I know. Wait, hold on. I want to get something here. Okay, hold on. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. Oh, that's from this morning. I'm so silly. I'm a silly girl. Ain't no stopping us now. Well, we got to settle on one thing at least. Okay, so the senators are all done. That's fine. Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, God. Okay. Don't hate me, okay? Can you not hate me? Just don't hate me. Please. Don't hate me. I mean, try not to. Please. Please and thank you are the magic words. All right, I know. There's Susie Wiles. Susie, what'd you do on that text thing, you know? Okay, we're going to just listen to this bullshit.
Against you and others. We believe that it's long past time for the American people to have a full and complete...
Whoa, what?
That they're going to. They might say a little bit about themselves also, because people are very interested in that. We're also going to sign right now some executive orders, and Will, if you would come forward.
Yes, sir.
I'll start thinking about signing them, right?
Who is this guy? I know,
for
but
you
please
today,
don't.
Sir. First, we have a pardon for Devin Archer. Devin Archer was a former business partner of the Biden family. He's was prosecuted relating to a fraud investigation, but notably the tone and tenor of that prosecution changed dramatically after he began to cooperate with congressional investigators and serve as a witness against Hunter Biden and the Biden family. We believe that was an injustice, and therefore we're asking you to pardon him.
And many people have asked me to do this. They think he was treated very unfairly. And I looked at the records, studied the records, and he was a victim of
fucking God.
a crime, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh
So
my
we're gonna
God.
undo that.
This transactional motherfucker. Oh my God.
All right. That's
What?
Devin Archer. Congratulations, Devin.
Next, sir, we have a presidential memorandum for your attention. This memorandum requires the immediate declassification of all FBI files relating to the Crossfire Hurricane investigation. This was obviously one of the instances of the weaponization of law enforcement powers of prosecution against you and others. We believe that it's long past time for the American people to have a full and complete understanding of what exactly is in those files.
Which gives the media the right to go in and check it. You probably won't bother because you're not going to like what you see. But this was total weaponization. It's a disgrace. Should never happen in this country. But now you'll be able to see for yourselves, all declassified. Is that correct? Would
Yes,
you
sir.
say? All declassified?
Yes, sir.
Everything?
The FBI file with there's a classified annex, but other than that, this will put everything in the public eye.
Yeah, I thought he declassified those because he took them.
Is anybody going to look? Huh? What about you? You going to
What
look?
about you? What about you? Look at my signature. I signed
And
it.
frankly, the FBI should be ashamed of themselves, and so should the Department of Justice, and so should Biden. Okay?
Next, sir, we have an executive order for your attention. We've taken action against a number of law firms that have participated either in the weaponization of government, the weaponization of the legal system for political ends, or have otherwise engaged in illegal or inappropriate activities. The law firm of Jenner and Block is one of these law firms. This is a law firm that, as you know, employed Andrew Weissman after he came off of the Mueller investigation. It's a law firm that's engaged in invidious racially and sexually discriminatory practices. It's also a law firm that has participated in the weaponization of the legal system against American principles and values.
Oh,
And
really?
We believe that the measures in this executive order will help correct that.
Wait, hold on.
And Andrew Weissman is the main culprit.
He's certainly
with respect to this firm.
He is one of a number of reasons that we believe this executive order is warranted.
He's a bad guy.
He's not a bad guy. That's his signature sound.
Next, sir, we have an executive order for your attention relating actually to government payments. Historically, checks issued by the Treasury are, I believe, 14 times more likely to become the subject of fraud than electronic transfer payments. This is an executive order that's going to push the Treasury Department to modernize its payment system to ensure that where possible they're using electronic methods of payment as opposed to paper checks in order to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse in the government, which is obviously an endeavor that we've been pursuing in numerous aspects of government under your leadership.
It's basically modernization of equipment and methods, and it's something that really I think he's going to be a great Secretary of the Treasury wanted, Scott, and so we're doing this, and we have other modernization programs going on. We could let somebody else, whoever's next, whoever that may be, do it, but it's something that should have been done 25, 30 years ago. Okay.
Along similar lines, sir, this is an
put a
executive
thing in
order.
his hands.
We're calling it Protecting
this is
America's
great.
Bank Account.
I got a good idea.
The basic idea here is that instead of having lots of different departments and agencies and offices issuing payment, often without justification, often without any provided rationale, we're going to be centraling payment processes where possible in the Department of the Treasury and ensuring that measures are taken in Treasury against waste, fraud, and abuse to ensure that money that's leaving the public Treasury is as protected as it possibly can be.
All right.
What?
Good.
What?
Many of these things should have taken place decades ago or longer.
What? What are you even talking about?
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order for your attention on the very important subject of election integrity. We believe that this executive order is the farthest reaching executive action taken in the history of the Republic to secure our elections. Among numerous other aspects of this executive order, this is going to cut down on illegal immigrants on the voter rolls, ensure that the Department of Homeland Security and the data that they have available is being fully weaponized to ensure that illegal immigrants aren't voting. This will include a citizenship question on the federal voting form for the first time.
Wow.
This executive order instructs the EAC to cut federal funding to states that don't take reasonable steps to secure their election. This calls on the Department of Justice to vigorously prosecute election crimes, particularly in states that we don't believe are in compliance with federal law around election integrity. I could go on and on for a while, sir,
we have something for that.
Compliance with National Election Day rules, cracking down and investigating and prosecuting foreign interference in our elections, revoking President Biden's Executive Order 14019, which essentially weaponized government to corrupt and pollute our election process. There's a lot in here, but we believe that these are very important steps that we need to be taking as an administration at your direction to ensure that our elections are as secure as they possibly can be.
My God, I can't even find everything.
You all understand that?
No. No, explain it to us.
You've heard the term? We'll end it.
God, this guy's so fucking creepy.
This will go a long way toward
Somebody
ending it.
check
There are
his
other
hard
steps
drive.
that we will be taking in the coming weeks, and we think we'll be able to end up getting fair elections. Perhaps some people think I shouldn't be complaining because we won in a landslide, but we got to straighten out our election. This country is so sick because of the election, the fake elections and the bad elections, and we're going to straighten it out one way or the other.
Where did my balls go? Where did my balls go? Come on.
And it's an honor to sign this one.
Oh, there they
sign
are.
all of them, but to sign this one is a great honor.
I don't even know what that means.
Sorry, sir.
Oh, that
So
was
we're
the
gonna go
last
around
one.
the
I
room
get
a
it.
little
Okay.
bit quickly, and we're going to introduce these very outstanding people. They've had, in all cases, outstanding careers. They're very incredible people that are going along as rapidly as the system can go along. We're ahead of, I guess, anybody else thus far. So I want to thank John Thune. He's done a very good job.
Oh, damn it.
The whole Senate. We're being delayed as much as possible by Democrats, but that's
How?
standard.
Because you
It
have
gets to be just
everything.
standard.
How is that even
the process
possible?
is moving along very quickly. So, Sergio, just say hello, and then we'll introduce everybody.
Absolutely. Sergio
Sorry,
Goro,
it's
Director of
RSPN.
Presidential Personnel. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know every one of you, every step
Who are
of this
you?
way. As the President said, we're at a record pace. We have more nominees today from the Senate than at any previous point, over 70, and that's a record in 2 months.
are you?
And we're proud of that, and we're determined to ensure the world has America First patriots in all of our posts.
Who
Charles
are you?
Kushner. I'm going to France and Monaco, and proud to serve under the greatest president of our country. Very proud.
That's Kushner's dad.
James Blair, honored to work here in the White House as Deputy Chief of Staff. And Mr. President, I think that all of these successful people would want to go serve the United States under your leadership as a testament to your vision of leadership.
Thank you.
Oh, that's fucking Charlie
I'm going to
Kushner.
the People's Republic of China. And it's my honor to represent President
You?
Trump, people of America, and represent our interests and values in China.
I'm Leah Campos. I'm going to represent the President in the Dominican Republic. Mr. President, thank you for the honor to serve you in the Dominican Republic.
Mike Welch, National Security Advisor. Look forward to working with every one of you on behalf of the President and his leadership in the American people.
John Arrigo. I am going to the
Not
Republic
for
of
long.
Portugal, and I'm very excited to do so and serve on what I consider one of my closest friends and one of the best presidents this country has ever had. Thank you.
Kevin Cabrera, nominated to be Ambassador to Panama. It truly is an honor, President, to be part of your administration.
Thank you. Tom Barrett, nominee to the Republic of Turkey. Delighted and honored to be with you, Mr. President, in that host country, which is one of the most ancient in civilization, is in search for your peace, prosperity,
Yeah,
and
whatever.
security program.
Hurry it up.
Mr. President.
Good leader, too.
Yeah,
Good
Mr.
leader,
President,
yeah.
thank
He's
you.
in trouble right
It's an
now,
honor.
but
I'm Pete Hoekstra, you know that. But I am going to Canada. I look forward to serving you in Canada and your agenda.
do you know who I am?
Thanks, Pete.
Oh my God, who are all these?
Juan Johnson, sir. Thank you for the nomination
Penises in
to
suits.
represent you and the United States,
Shriveled
to the United
dicks in
Mexican
suits.
states. And I'm really encouraged by some of the conversations you've had with President Sheinbaum recently, and to the increase in support that we've seen out of her government along our border on important issues. So thank you, sir.
They have stepped it up a lot. Mexico
Are you
and
talking? Oh, you're
Canada,
talking
so-
about. How did you pronounce her name?
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Matt
row
Whitaker
of
from
old
Iowa.
greedy
I'm
grumps.
Proud to, as soon as I'm confirmed, go represent you at the North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
Good. Thank you, Ben.
George Glass on my way to Japan.
Matt Whitaker?
Previous administration, I served for you.
Oh,
in
there's a lot of
Portugal.
flaccid
It was a
dicks in that
great
room.
honor to be able to
100%.
do this the second time. Thank
you very
for
much.
the opportunity.
Ew! What are you?
President Trump, my name is Ken Howry. I'm your nominee to be ambassador to the Kingdom of Denmark, a very close partner and ally. I served for you last time. Kingdom
No,
of Sweden.
apparently
I wanna
not.
Thank you for the faith you've
Could
placed
you
in me,
shave, Ken?
as your nominee.
Could you get a fucking haircut?
President Trump, thank you for the honor of a lifetime. My name
Oh,
is
this is
Stacey
that bitch
Feinberg,
from New York.
And hopefully I'll have the honor of serving in Luxembourg. And I think this is the greatest presidency and
no,
the
wait.
greatest time in history. And
Is
it's
it?
all because of you.
Really? All because
Nicole
my name's
McGraw,
Stacy.
nominated to serve in Croatia, and it's such an honor to be here with you today and to serve you and the American people.
Wow, these are cushy jobs.
President Trump, thank you very much for your nomination to the Republic of Chile. And let me tell you,
Let me tell
Border
you.
Patrol agents are so thankful for everything.
I just think you're so great.
Them, but it's
That
a
man
great.
knows more about the border than anybody.
Really?
I tell you.
Oh, he's a
Thank you.
border agent, and now he's a fucking
Good
ambassador.
afternoon, Mr. President. Brian Birch. If I'm confirmed, I'll be representing you at the Holy See. And Catholics are very proud of your work. Your team is doing an excellent job. So thank
Angel
you.
Pace,
Very
that's the
honored to
woman I
serve.
fought with online.
Mr. President.
It's true. Look it up.
Thank you again for the honor, the greatest privilege.
Greatest?
My name is Summers Farkas. I will serve this great man the Republic
Did you
of
just
Malta.
roll out of bed?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Joe Popolo from Dallas, Texas. Very proud to serve you at the Kingdom of the Netherlands, the very first country to recognize the United States 250 years ago. Thank you.
Oh, really?
Mr. President,
You did
if
your
I'm
homework.
confirmed, I will be representing you in the State of Israel. It will be an extraordinary honor.
Ooh, that's that
and
guy,
you've done more
Huckabee.
for Israel than any president in any time of its history, and we are grateful. And I'm hoping I'll
Wait,
get
here,
to be there
lick
by
the balls.
Passover.
Wait.
Thank you, Mike. And
Lick
Mike
the balls.
is an outstanding
Licking the
guy.
balls.
We all-
La, la,
we
la,
all
la, la, la.
are.
Come on, Susie.
Mike,
Blah, 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 blah,
I think he's
blah,
going
blah,
to
blah.
do wonders
Come on, lick
for
the balls.
Israel. He actually probably gets along with both sides, and
Lick
that'll be
the
interesting
balls.
to see. But
No,
the
I
world
doubt
is
it.
watching you, Mike. So
Here,
good
lick
luck.
my balls. Mike,
Good luck.
come
You're
over
gonna
here
do
and lick
well.
my balls.
Thank you.
Susie, lean
Mr.
over,
President,
lick my
thank
balls.
you for this great honor to serve the Republic of Italy and San Marino.
Italy?
I'm so looking forward to going over there and working with that great ally, and for the pleasure to serve you. Your staff has been great working with us, and you've done a great job, and we really appreciate it.
Italy?
Thank you, sir, for pushing this along.
You going over to Italy?
A really good time.
You said Italy. That's funny.
I'm Warren Stevens from Little Rock, Arkansas, and I have the honor.
Wait, is he like
to
that Warren
represent
Stevens, the cult
the
leader?
President in the United
No,
States.
he can't be, right?
In Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Northern
and,
Ireland.
To be chosen to go to such an important ally.
Yeah.
of ours
Well,
is
not anymore.
Looking forward to it, but
Italy.
thank you for the honor.
Italy.
You're gonna do fantastic.
It's the messy. Oh, it's a
Tremendously
messy look, all
successful
right.
People, and
He didn't say
you two
idly.
guys,
That's
and
true.
then
He
you
did
add
not.
on Mike. I think they have a little more money than
Mike,
Mike.
I
but,
recognize your name
he's got
because
some other advantages. He's got some other, like upstairs. He's got some big advantages.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
It's
'cause
very
God's
exciting. It's
transactional.
really exciting to have all of you.
Wow.
Would you have any questions, media, for the people that you just saw? So outstanding, and I thought it would be nice to bring them before you. And so, if you have any questions,
Yeah,
please.
we do have some questions.
The talks in Saudi Arabia. It sounds like you made some progress on the Black Sea ceasefire. Could you update us on that? What happens now?
So we've made a lot of progress on two fronts, on both sections that we call them. We call them sections, but they're much more than that. Russia, Ukraine, and also the Middle East. And we'll see what happens. We're in deep discussions with Russia and Ukraine. And I would say it's going well, but it's a situation we should have never had to even think about.
So you're not. So you don't have anything about the Black Sea?
Middle East, that's been going on for a lot of years, centuries and centuries. It just keeps
So
going.
again, you don't have
And
anything
we
about the
are,
Black Sea
making a lot
to
of
comment
progress,
on, sir?
That's all I can report. But some very,
Please
very
make
big
me.
talks are going, and
Please send me to
detailed talks are going on
Washington.
right now
I don't
on both
care.
fronts.
You don't have to pay me like a salary. Just fly me out there.
Wait a minute, excuse me, I didn't pick you. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, the ceasefire agreement that was broken today allows for third-party countries to help implement the agreement. What does that look like, and who's going to be involved?
The ceasefire agreement?
Yes, the maritime ceasefire agreement between Russia and Ukraine.
Well, they're going to get together. Look, it's they.
He doesn't
agreed
know
to
the
something
answer.
And it got broken. There's tremendous animosity. There's a lot of
He
hatred.
doesn't. He
as
doesn't
you
know
can
the answer.
Probably tell, and it allows for people to get together, mediate it, arbitrate it, and see if we can get
Archer,
it stopped.
Devin-
and I think it
Devin
will.
Archer.
That'll get stopped.
What countries are you looking to
We can talk about it in a minute, Paul J.
implement and monitor that ceasefire?
We have other countries involved, and they're involved very strongly in the process, and that'll be resolved. That's actually, as bad as it is, that's the least of the problems. So we'll get that resolved, and we are being aided by other countries too. Yes, please.
Yes.
Brian?
Tomorrow, the subcommittee on DOGE is going to review funding for NPR and PBS. Now, every
Fuck this guy.
Republican president has always promised
Tintin,
to
shut the
take
fuck
away
up
this,
and sit down. Go
money that's
suck
going
off.
to these two public
Mar-
news
Marjorie's
outlets.
dick.
If they're successful, I know Senator Kennedy has backed it, Marjorie Taylor Greene in Congress has backed it. Would you be interested
Pillow
in
talk.
defunding and taking away taxpayer dollars to NPR and PBS?
Well, I would love to do that. I think it's very unfair. It's been very biased. The whole group. I mean, the whole group
Sesame
of them.
Street, so biased.
And frankly, there's plenty. Look at all the media you have right now. There's plenty of coverage. I was from a different age, and they spend more money than any other network of its type ever conceived. So the kind of money that's being wasted, and it's a very biased view, you know that better than anybody.
Yeah, because you'd never work
I'd
for
be
them.
honored to see it end. We're well covered. Look at all the people that we have here today. We're well covered, and we don't need it. And it's a waste of money.
Fuck you.
Especially, I don't even know what Doge's recommendation is. I assume their recommendation is to close them up.
Well, after they hear all the testimony, I think they're going to make a decision relatively sooner than later.
Yeah.
But we'll see what that turns out.
How do you know that, Brian?
I can't imagine that they wouldn't, because they have found so much waste, fraud, and abuse.
No, they haven't. Oh, wait. Hold on.
Hundreds of billions of dollars.
Really?
And
Waste,
just
fraud, and
waste,
abuse?
fraud, abuse. You heard yesterday some of the new things that were found. 22 billion just in environment. Billion. You know, if you had 22 million, Warren, it would be nice. But 22 billion put into environmental accounts. One was 2 billion into one account, Stacey Abrams, where they had $100
It wasn't
in the
hers.
account.
This
And
is
just
so
before I came, they put
disinformation.
$2 billion.
But no one's going to push
And,
back on
you
it.
guys are looking,
But
so
it's
you mean
total
2 million, or maybe 200,000? No, $2 billion were put in the account. What do you think of that, Mike? Do you think that's a straight deal?
I think
$2
that's
billion?
all. Here's what I think of it.
Check, Mr. President.
It's that. That's what it is.
It's a horrible thing, and we have so many of those things. So they've done an incredible job. And
yeah, fuck
the
off.
country wants to hear it. I think Doge is actually very popular because of what's happening. They're hearing about all of these scams and for big money.
Not scams.
Tremendous amount. And when you add it up,
Every single
just
grant in
hundreds of billions of
USAID, I'm going to
dollars
speak over
being
him. Every single
wasted,
grant in
and much
USAID
of
is
it's fraud.
evaluated
You know, we
and
talk about
documented to the
waste,
penny.
And it is waste
Period.
and abuse, but a lot of it's
He
fraud.
can lie all he wants, but he's wrong.
Brian?
I just want to follow up on that. If Planned Parenthood is defunded, would you look into the harvesting of baby organs that they've done throughout the years and maybe go after some criminal prosecution on that?
Well, I think you're talking about a subject that is a heated subject, and we'll look into it. We're going to look into
Yeah, we're gonna
everything,
look into
but
that.
That's certainly a subject that's been
Fuck
debated for a
you.
long time,
Fuck off and
we will look into it, yeah.
Mr. President, some senators have expressed hope that the White House will support a rescission package to codify some of the Doge cuts into law. Where does the White House stand on that? And are you making progress
Which
on
package?
a rescission package to codify some of the Doge cuts into law?
You know what? It would be great. I think we're going to do that. I think they're going to do it. I think we're also going to be codifying a lot of the executive orders that we've done, which have been very popular. And we're looking at one, I will tell you right now, that I think perhaps will be controversial, but not with the people. And that's sanctuary cities. We're going to end sanctuary cities for some of these jurisdictions.
You must have missed that hearing where the sanctuary city mayors, so-called,
they're guarding
owned
criminals.
your
They're,
stupid committee members,
taking
sir.
the rights away from the citizens of this state and their city.
This is
and we're
a
going to be ending
lie.
sanctuary
This
cities
is
if
a
we
lie.
find it necessary to do in certain major areas. And we may just end the entire thing altogether because it's just a way of protecting criminals. And nobody else is benefited by that. And for some reason, Democrats want to keep and they want to shield criminals from being sent back to their countries or being sent to prison. And in the meantime, the crime rate has gone through the roof. Under Biden, it was through the roof. It's starting to come down, but we're taking a lot of people out of here. So we may be presenting you very shortly with a executive order ending sanctuary cities.
Mr. President, are you going to change any of the practices that your national security officials used after a reporter was inadvertently added to a group chat about attacks on Yemen?
Well, I think it's a question I've been asked now, and I've given a few answers, and they've all been the same. We have an amazing group. Our national security now is stronger than it's ever been. We have had a very successful, numerous attacks on that area. These are people that shoot down ships, not only our ships, ships all over the world. They're shooting down right out of the water and damaging them badly.
From where?
Or they're going down. They're also shooting anything that happens to be flying in the area. We hit them very hard. There was no classified information, as I understand it. They used a
Do you recall?
App, if you want to call it an app, that a lot of people use, a lot of people in government use, a lot of people in the media use. And I think I'll ask Mike. Mike is here. Do you want to respond to that, please?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yeah, Mike, you
asked
want to say
about
anything?
lessons. I think there's a lot of journalists in this city who have made big names for themselves, making up lies about this president, whether it's the Russia hoax or making up lies about Gold Star families, and this one in particular I've never met, don't know, never communicated with.
You added him!
And we are looking into and reviewing how the heck he got into this room. But I'll tell you what, the world owes President Trump a favor.
Added him!
Under Biden,
Oh my
global
God.
shipping was shut down.
He has to do it
Pinprick attacks,
publicly.
months between them.
He has
our
to suck him
destroyers
off
being
publicly.
Fired upon dozens of times. President Trump
Oh,
took
his
decisive
voice cracked.
action with his
Oh,
national
shit.
security team, took out the head missileer, knocked out missiles,
He is
knocked out
so,
headquarters,
like,
knocked out
hello,
communication
and then you
sites.
did this, and then
for
you were
once,
great, and then I
as
loved
we
you
hear,
here,
as
and I
you
loved you
all
in
hear
that,
from
and you
every
were
one
so
of our
great in
allies,
that.
thank God for American leadership
Thank
again.
God
Thank
for
God
American
for American strength.
leadership.
You're welcome, world.
But what about the text change, sir?
We had a national security team that was coordinating
Uh-huh.
these efforts, as Director Radcliffe testified today.
Okay.
His first day on the job, he was
Okay.
introduced to this app on his government systems
Are you blaming
at
him?
the CIA and
Okay.
at the State Department and otherwise. So,
Okay.
look, this journalist, Mr. President, wants
Okay.
the world talking about more hoaxes
Okay.
and this kind
Hoaxes?
of nonsense rather than the freedom.
Which ones? The
that
printed
you're
transcript
enabling.
of the
And a key part of
discussion?
our sovereignty is open sea lanes and knocking the crap out of terrorists,
Okay.
which is exactly what your team and
Okay,
Pete
but what
Hegseth,
you
a good
put
friend and
service
fellow
people
veteran,
in danger,
is leading
sir.
the charge on, and it's an honor.
You put service people in danger,
We had a
sir.
very, very successful evening.
My God.
And we've had numerous successful evenings and days in that area. The Houthis are absolutely on the run. The worst of them has been killed. This should have been done a long time ago by
Hey,
Biden.
Al,
but Biden
notice
was an
no one has
incompetent
been charged
president.
with
He couldn't
fraud.
do anything. He didn't know where he was going. He had no clue. This guy had no clue. This should have been done a long time ago. As they shoot missiles at ships, randomly shoot missiles at ships.
Yeah,
And,
okay, but
and they make
now
their own missiles.
we
You know,
gave
this is
them the
not an
positions
incompetent
of
group people.
troops
They make their own
and the
missiles.
plans
They
for
get
when
the
those
missiles
troops
also
were going to
from
fire
Iran.
on them,
It's
sir.
an offshoot of Iran. Another
How did
offshoot.
we
You
put
have
them in
Hamas,
danger,
you have Hezbollah,
sir?
You have the Houthis. You got a lot of stuff going on with Iran.
Yeah, the National Security
And, we
Council
sent a letter
already
to Iran.
confirmed
You're gonna have to
the text
be,
change.
Speaking to us one way or the other pretty soon because
And it's
we
not
can't
just a
let this
reporter,
happen, but,
he's the fucking
that's an
editor
app
of
that
The
a lot of people
Atlantic.
use. And somebody got on. I mean, it happened
He's the
to know
editor.
The guy's a total sleazebag. The Atlantic.
Okay?
The Atlantic
He's
is
not a
failed
sleazebag.
magazine.
He's the fucking
does
editor.
Very, very poorly. Nobody gives a damn
Bullshit.
about it. This gives it a little bit of a shot. And I will
Fuck
tell
you.
you this: that,
You are so
they've made up
toast.
more stories.
You better
And,
watch your windows,
and
babe.
it's just a failing magazine. The public understands that he's a very good
You're
man. That
becoming
man
a
is very good
liability
man right
to
there
the
that
boys. You know what I'm
criticize so
saying?
strongly.
These guys are becoming a
He's a
liability
very
to the
good man,
plan.
and he will.
They better be careful.
Continue to do a good job. In addition to him, we had very good people in that meeting, and those people have done a very, very effective job. And you're going to see it, and it goes on. By the way, it's going to go on.
Talk
And,
faster.
I think the Houthis wish that it didn't happen, but that's what it's all
You
about.
wish
We
it
have
didn't
to
happen,
create a
bitch.
safe country, a safe world, and that's what we're doing.
Bullshit. You just put our American troops, people's children in danger.
The use of Signal to communicate from senior officials.
Well, I don't know anything about Signal. I wasn't involved in this, but I just heard about it. And I
there
hear
it
it's
is.
used by a lot
There
of
it is.
groups.
I
It's
just
used
heard
by
about
the
it.
media a lot.
Even
It's
know what
used
that
by,
is.
A lot of the military, and I think successfully. But sometimes somebody can get onto those
Signal,
things.
I don't
That's
even
one of
know
the
her.
prices you pay when you're not sitting in the situation room with no phones on, which is always the best, frankly. But the best is to be there. In fact, oftentimes I've been in fact, just last week I was in the situation room on something very important, and we had a couple of people hooked up by line, and I said, cancel the line. Sorry, fellas, what you do is we'll tell you all about the meeting, because I know people do get on those lines, whether it's Signal or anything else. Yeah.
So are you going to change any procedures as a result of this?
Well, I mean, look, we look at everything, and they've made a big deal out of this because we've had 2 perfect months. We are bringing in business. We have another one.
We're
announced
trashing the
tomorrow, a big
economy.
one, very
It's
big.
doing great.
Like,
Cancel
in
the party
history of our
line.
country, nobody's ever seen anything like it.
Hang
And
that
I think
phone up.
Probably, a lot of people are saying they started by saying it was the greatest first
Really?
month that
Oh,
a
really?
president has ever
Did they say
had,
the
and I
even
think that's
greater
true.
second month?
And now they say it's the best second month, and they had to find something. And this certainly will look at this. But the main thing was nothing happened. No, the attack was totally successful. It was, I guess, from what I understand,
did you die?
took place during.
But did you
and
die?
it wasn't classified information, so this was not classified. Now, if it's classified information, it's probably a little bit different. But I always say you have to learn from every experience. I think it was very unfair the way they attacked.
But did you die?
Michael.
It is a banana republic. It's an occupying force.
The person that was on
But
just
we can
happens
take
to be
him
a
out.
sleazebag, so maybe that's just coincidence. I don't know.
Howard Lutnick is a pushover. Look at all these soft white underbellies.
I'd have to ask the military about that, because maybe you wouldn't want that. I don't know. I will say this: that from what I heard, the man that we're talking about, who's not somebody that I don't think most people have ever heard of, he left. He found it very boring, and he left early. He got off the line very early.
Really?
So
how early?
I can't speak to it other than that.
But you said you just heard about it and you don't even know what it is. Wait a minute. Yeah, ask Susie. She was right. She was on it. She's right next to you. Susie.
Very failing venture. They're very upset. And a thing like this is publicity for them.
I wouldn't have done it.
I don't think we should allow people that are very good, like that man sitting right at the end of the table who's done a great job. We shouldn't allow them to be hurt by it.
We shouldn't allow them to be hurt by it?
So are you saying you're okay with the continued use of Signal by administration officials?
No, that's not what I said. I said we'll look into it, but everybody else seems to be using it. It seems to be the number one used device or app, whatever you want to call it, and we will certainly look. If it was up to me, everybody would be sitting in a room together. The room would have solid
holding
lead
hands.
Walls and a lead ceiling and a lead floor.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Life doesn't always let you do that. In the meantime, the attack itself that we were talking about and discussing has been an unbelievable success.
But you will conduct an investigation, is what you're saying.
We'll look into it, sure.
Mr. President,
I would look into it, sure. I want to look into anything like that.
Anything.
I would ask them. It's not really an FBI thing. It's really something having to do with security. Security, like, will somebody be able to break in? Are people able to break into conversations? And if that's true, we're going to have to find some other form of device. And I think that's something that we may have to do. Some people like Signal very much.
Oh, yeah. Wait, you didn't know anything about it a minute ago.
We'll look into it. I think, Michael,
what happened?
asked you to immediately study that.
What are you talking about?
If people are able to break into a system, now in this case, it wasn't that this attack was going on and nobody found out anything. And again, the person that was
did you die?
As I understand it, he
did
left
you
very
die?
early because he didn't find it very exciting. But
did you die?
I think it's something you should look into.
Yes, sir, we are. We have our technical experts looking at it. We have our legal teams looking at it. And of course, we're going to keep everything as secure as possible.
Of course.
No one in your national security team would ever put anyone in danger. And
You
as
did.
you said, we've repeatedly said,
You
the attack
did it.
was phenomenal and it's ongoing. But the media wants
you
to talk
did
about
it.
everything else except for the hostages you're getting out of the Middle East, Iran on its back foot, sea lanes getting reopened, peace in Europe. As we just saw today with a Black Sea ceasefire, we were just on with Steve Witkoff, myself, our team in Saudi Arabia.
You are so scared right now, Mike,
this other
aren't you?
stuff,
You're
except
very
for
scared.
your amazing successes and the successes
I get
of your
it.
team.
I'd be scared too if I fucked up like you did, Mike Waltz.
And there are other devices that are very good, but they are very, very cumbersome, and you're not able to use them. And
devices? It's an app, sir.
All we can do is find out the best we have with modern technology.
This
They'll
is so
probably
bad.
get better over the years. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, on the Black Sea,
Peter
the
Thiel,
president
you
has
should
said
get
that
your
there
money
are
back.
several conditions that would need to be met for this agreement to happen. This includes sanction relief for banks and some companies. Did the U.S. agree to all of those conditions that they laid out?
They will be looking at them, and we're thinking about all of them right now. There are about 5 or 6 conditions. We're looking at all of them.
The White House has said that it's looking into how journalists got added to that Signal chat. Is it possible that there could be a firing of even a lower mid-level official once that person is identified? About the Signal chat that we've been discussing.
We've pretty much looked into it. It's pretty simple, to be honest. It's not. It's just something that can happen. It can happen. You can even prepare for it. It can happen. Sometimes people are hooked in, and you don't know they're hooked in. They're hooked into your line, and they don't even mean bad by it. but it's not a perfect technology. There is no perfect technology. The really good ones are very cumbersome, very hard to access. And I think we're going to look at, we always want to use the best technology. This was the best technology for the moment. But again, it wasn't classified, so they probably viewed it as being something that wasn't that important. And it obviously, with the attack being, I mean, I don't know if it's been read out to you yet, but that attack was a tremendous success for the U.S., a tremendous success.
Who said the information
Go ahead,
was
please.
not classified? Do you think that Mike Waltz made a mistake, and does he need to apologize?
No, I don't think he should apologize. I think he's doing his best. It's equipment and technology that's not perfect, and probably he won't be using it again, at least not in the very near future. What do you think?
That's sir. I agree with you. Let's get everybody in the room whenever possible.
A lot of times you find out defects by exactly things like that, but I don't think it's something we're looking forward to using again. We may be forced to use it. You may be in a situation where you need speed as opposed to gross safety.
Wait,
and
what?
you may be forced to use it, but generally
When?
speaking, I think we probably
Under
won't
what
be using
circumstances
it very
would you be forced to use it, sir?
The Secretary of Defense, on that chain, the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and J.D. Vance, the Vice President, said that the Europeans were freeloading. Do you agree with that assessment?
Do you really want me to answer that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've been freeloading. The European Union's been absolutely terrible to us on trade. Terrible. And as you know, NATO, I got them to pay hundreds of billions of dollars. They were way behind. And if you look if you look at Ukraine, so we're in for $350 billion because of Biden. Should
No,
have
we're
never
not.
happened, this war.
It's like
Should have- all these dead
120
people should not be
million or
dead. All these
billion.
broken cities that are demolished down to the ground, those gorgeous towers, the most beautiful in the world, the most beautiful spires in the world. The spires in Ukraine were said to be the most beautiful of all. Just about every one of them is lying on its side in a million pieces. It's so sad to see what's happened to a heritage. No, I think that when they say the European Union and you could say NATO also. Look, NATO, and I don't blame NATO for this. I don't blame Europe for this. I blame Biden for the fact that he didn't make them equalize. And to this day, I said to him, "You got to catch up. You got to equalize."
What?
But why are they in for $100 billion and we're in for possibly $350 billion?
We're not.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't
There
be.
is- there-
and
no.
you could say more important
That's not the
for them
numbers.
because we have an ocean in between. So it's
No,
one of those things.
that's
You'll be
actually
seeing,
not how it works, but okay.
Liberation Day. I call it Liberation Day in America. You're going to be seeing it on April
tariffs.
2nd.
Here we
Didn't
go.
want to do it on April 1st for the obvious reason. April 2nd.
He'll be
But
happy.
you'll be
Oops,
seeing
no, he's gone.
tariffs,
There he
and
is.
I think
oops,
I've
sorry,
been
I
very
covered
fair.
you, Curtis.
I have them set, but I think I've been very fair to countries that have really abused us economically for many, many
And
decades.
feelings. Oh my God, it's everything. It's feelings.
Another question, please. Go ahead.
Just following up on your comments on the economy, there is reporting that consumer confidence fell for the fourth straight month. What is your message to Americans who are concerned
Well,
about
I know this, that for the first time in
egg prices,
like 50 years,
here's my egg prices.
right track, wrong track. We were on the right track, and I think people see that. And if you look at prices, prices are way down.
Nope, they're not.
You know, when I first came here, the first time I met with you people officially,
My Lord.
they were screaming
No,
at me about
they're
eggs.
not.
I said, I've been here for a week and I'm being yelled at about
No,
eggs.
they're not, my Lord.
Egg prices
No,
have come down
they're
45-50% in the last week and a half.
Here we go.
And
Let me
our,
show you, my
Secretary
Lord.
of Agriculture has done a great
Let
job.
me
As you know,
show
Brooke,
you.
she's done a fantastic job, and others
Let
working with
me
her have done a great job. But we brought eggs down at a level that nobody thought we could
You
get
are
at.
wrong,
I inherited
my
that situation,
friend.
and I inherited
You
the
are
grocery
wrong.
situation.
Here we go.
The groceries
Look
went
at
way
okay.
up, an
Here's egg
old-fashioned
prices
word, but
since.
it's a very descriptive word.
This is a year
Groceries have
ago.
gone through the roof.
Year ago.
And I used to campaign on it. I used to say we're going to get
Year
groceries
ago,
down. And we have
September
got it down. I watched
2024.
a certain newscast over the weekend.
November,
and a congressman, Democrat
October
congressman, said,
30th,
well, Trump's
December
done a lot. I
5th.
agree. He's been great on the border. He's been great on the military. But, you know, he hasn't brought prices down. That's false.
February, March
gasoline's way
4th,
down.
2025.
Eggs are way down. Groceries are down very substantially.
Because we started buying eggs from overseas.
Almost everything's down.
It's
Now,
not down.
I'd like to see
It's
interest
down from a
rates come
historic
down a little
high.
bit, and you're going to see billions of dollars, even trillions of dollars
It's
coming
above a
into
year
our country
ago,
very
though.
soon in the form of tariffs. Because
I don't
we
know.
were
I
abused
like
by
data.
Presidents.
That's what I like.
In all
Data.
fairness, it wasn't their expertise, but they had no idea what they were doing.
Media literacy.
Tariffs will create more jobs here in America.
Oh,
So
yeah, sure.
which states? Which states do you?
It'll create a lot of money and more jobs.
It
but
won't.
If you look, so in the last,
I can
these
do. I'm
gentlemen
doing a
would know
whole
about
show.
it, and ladies,
I'm doing a
'cause
whole
some
show
of the
on this
ladies are
on
great
Friday,
businessmen in
everybody.
this room
If you want to
that are
understand a little
becoming
bit of what's
ambassadors.
happening
Great.
here,
Really great. Top
what
of the
really
line.
is happening,
When
please
you
come
look
to my
at
show on
the
Friday.
Number of companies that have said, like,
All right,
we're close
I'll
to,
give
I
you
would say
data.
close to $4 trillion.
I'll make your
We
data
never
dreams
had
come
numbers
true.
Like that. The number one chip maker in the
No, I
world,
think they're
from Taiwan,
Portuguese
coming
eggs.
in with $200 billion.
Economics with Lolo. That's right.
Apple. Look at Apple. $500 billion. $500 billion. They're going to build plants all over the United States. They were all being built in China. You have many, many companies, and maybe above all, you have the car companies coming in at levels that nobody's ever seen before.
Okay, that's another thing. I can talk
Honda
about
is
that
opening
too.
up, one
Oh
of the
fuck
biggest
yeah, I
plants in the
can.
world
Oh
in
fuck yeah, I
Indiana.
can.
And many car
I
companies
sure
are
can.
coming in.
I can talk about it.
We have
Honda.
AI.
Yeah.
We're leading
They're
China
going to make them
by
buy
a
more
lot
batteries
in AI,
from American
and we're gonna keep
plants.
it that
Well,
way
that's
because we've
interesting,
made it
but
very
how much
good
does that
for
make
them,
up in
and
their
we're gonna
global
protect them once a year.
trade
We'll protect them
percentage?
through
Probably
taxes,
not that
through
much.
incentives,
So it's
and
probably just
also
a
through
gesture to
tariffs.
get him to back
Thank
off
you
of
very much,
tariffs.
everybody.
And that's
Thank you very
exactly
much.
what he's going to
Thank
do.
you.
That's bullshit. Mar-a-Lago Accord. Sovereign Wealth Fund boondoggle. Wait, did you guys close it off? Susie, what happened on the text chain, bitch? Okay, I think they're done. Oh, I'm just all heated now. Hold on. I mean, all my plans have been washed away, and that's fine. It's okay to have plans change. Yikes. Wow. I don't even know where to begin, really. I really don't know where to begin. You know, here's the thing. The ability of the American public to absorb disinformation has reached such an incredible depth that the disinformation now is just the communication stream. And, you know, the egg prices is a great example because the data really does matter. And I've been doing a lot of poking around the economics of this administration. And I'm not an expert, and I don't claim to be, and I'm not making any forecasts. But the voices that are speaking that do understand the economics are very cautionary, unless they have some agenda to which not to be cautionary, i.e., if you're a CEO of a publicly traded company, it doesn't really behoove you to sit there and go, you know, I hate this president. What a jerk. You know, this is going to kill our business. No CEO is going to do that. What they're going to do is use very cautionary language and kind of like, well, you know, I think this could be good in the long. And obviously corporate taxes going down for them is a huge bonus. So they do stand to gain financially. So the corporations are perfectly happy with the chaos because at the end of the day, they know that they could possibly recoup. Right? So they'll obey in advance, eliminate their DEI programs, which is utterly ridiculous and racist. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I've been talking to Sam I Am, and he said, you won't like green eggs and ham. And I said, but Sam I Am, have you seen the price of eggs? All right. I actually have an idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do an edit of some of the hearing stuff that I wanted to go over with you today versus making us go through a 1.25 speed 4-hour thing. I think what I'll do is kind of spread it out so that we have some content. Tomorrow morning, we have a very busy day also. So make sure you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, I don't even know what is happening right now. You should be subscribed to this. Cut and run. Cut and run. Yeah. Rhode Island Reds lay brown eggs. Oh, wow. I love eggs. I'm going to be honest with you. A soft boiled egg and some sourdough toast is like my favorite. That's my go-to meal. I will eat that all the time if I could, but I shouldn't. And so I don't. But yeah. But please do come back on Friday. I mean, come back every day. I'm here every day now. But come back on Friday because we don't have any hearings per se, although something could happen news-wise. But my plan is to go over some of these things that we've been talking about economics-wise. Oh, I don't even care. I'm willing to take my chances. No, I'm not. That's a terrible thing to say. Yeah, okay, I'm not eating that. I'm just kidding. And colorful eggs are fun. No. So yeah, so we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about on Friday because I've learned a lot and I think it's important. I think it's important to be aware of. Is it going to change your life? I don't think so. Maybe not. But I kind of find it. I like to nerd out on some of this stuff. Like, does that make sense? What makes sense? Who gains? Who stands to gain from anything? That's my favorite question. Who stands to gain from this? Like, who stands to gain from a sloppy intelligence, apparatus? Who gains from a sloppy intelligence apparatus? Why would you think someone like Mike Waltz would do something so stupid? I'm kind of interested to see. Well, I guess he didn't. Did he not? I mean, definitely our enemies. But I don't feel like this was intentional, right? I mean, could it have been intentional? Could it have been intentional? Okay, I'm just going crazy now, so I'm going to stop going crazy online. I can go crazy and I mean, no, I don't mean that. I don't know. I have no idea. But it just is interesting. I mean, yes, actually, it looks from the face of it, Badger. We'll find out from Russian state TV later today, right? From the face of it, it does look like just a bunch of stupid people, and Marco probably wasn't paying attention. Although, why wouldn't you pay attention if you're actually having conversations with the top administration levels about war, an actual bombing? I mean, if I was Marco Rubio, I'd be paying attention to that thread. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not exact. I don't think it could be intentional, butterflies. I actually think it's because they're that stupid. Yeah, it's more important to them that the conversations will be disappeared. You're absolutely right, Max. And you have to click a button to make that happen. Yeah, I know. Trudeau is gone. Trump's paying for Polyev to win. Polyev doesn't look good for PP. I mean, I'm telling you, the chuds that I hear, which granted they don't vote, but the Canadian chuds that I listen to, they're not real PP fans. I mean, I suppose that's who they'd vote for if they had just one choice, but I don't know. They don't really love him. But these guys don't really go out and vote. Wait, what shit from CBS? What? What is the shit from CBS? That's not it. What happened? NSA warned of vulnerabilities in Signal app a month before Houthi strike. Is that the one? I know Witkoff was in Russia. Yeah. Is that what you mean, darling? Hold on, I'm going to pull this over Ba-da-ba-ba-da-da. One of the signal chatters. Oh, yes, Witkoff. Yeah, Witkoff. Oh, I think it's the motherland. Yeah, no, Russia's a motherland. Mother Russia. That I do know just from my limited time in college. Is this what you... Oh, you didn't mean that. You meant the other thing about Witkoff. Yeah, here's the thing. Steve Witkoff is very, very disturbing as a person. Let's see. Top Trump officials. Oh, wait, here we go. Oh, no, that's the same thing. Never mind. Never mind. Oh, my God. Stop it with the ads. Nobody cares. But I will say this. Here's a story from CBS from about 10 minutes ago. Hold on. This. Hold up. All right. So this is from CBS News about 10 minutes ago. I know it is idiocracy. I know it is kind of hard to know, isn't it, Jen? You're right. It's kind of hard to know. A Pentagon-wide advisory that went out 1 week ago warns against using Signal. Thank you, Max. You're so smart. I love you. NSA warned of vulnerabilities in Signal app a month before Houthi strike chat. This is from today. The National Security Agency sent out an operational special bulletin to its employees in February 2025, warning them of vulnerabilities in using the encrypted messaging application Signal, according to internal NSA documents obtained by CBS News. Somebody's linking. Somebody's leaking. Woo! Woo! Hi, Sharon. How are you, darling? Uh-oh. Leak. News of the NSA bulletin comes amid the continued fallout from an explosive article published Monday in The Atlantic. The publication's editor-in-chief, not just some journalist, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, detailed how Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth inadvertently disclosed war plans to him in an encrypted Signal chat group 2 hours before the U.S. military launched attacks against Houthi militia in Yemen. Goldberg wrote that Hegseth's messages included, quote, precise information about weapons packages, targets, and timing. The NSA is an arm of the Defense Department and specializes in signals intelligence, which is derived from electronic transmissions and cybersecurity. The agency is responsible for monitoring, collecting, and processing information and data for U.S. national security interests. The unclassified but for official use only documents provided to CBS News by a senior U.S. intelligence official are entitled Signal Vulnerability and were sent out the month before Goldberg was accidentally added to the group chat, allegedly by National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. Quote, a vulnerability has been identified in the Signal Messenger application. If you're dumb and you don't look at who's on the group chat, you're going to be dumb. Okay. The use of Signal by common targets of surveillance and espionage activity and editors-in-chief of large magazines has made the application a high-value target to intercept sensitive information or to go ahead and set up the group in order to disseminate the sensitive information. Nobody asked who JG was. Nobody. It wasn't that large a group. The bulletin warned of Russian professional hacking groups employing phishing scams. They don't need any hacking groups anymore. Their hacking group is sitting in the Oval Office. The bulletin warned of Russian professional hacking groups employing phishing scams to gain access to encrypted conversations, bypassing the end-to-end encryption the application uses. The bulletin also underscored to NSA employees that third-party messaging applications such as Signal and WhatsApp are permitted for certain, quote, unclassified accountability recall exercises, but not for communicating more sensitive information. No shit. NSA employees were also warned not to send anything compromising over social media or internet-based tool or application. and to not, quote, establish connections with people you do not know. You know. Nobody commented on that? Oh, wow, that's crazy. On Tuesday, National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard, yep, that one, and CIA Director John Ratcliffe. The vulnerability in Signal, NSA had to warn about it, not in the program, but a risk from phishing, I guess. Yeah, not from the idiots using it, oomph. He didn't warn against that. I added that part. Okay. So John Ratcliffe, both of whom were reportedly in the Signal group chat, testified before a Senate panel. Quote, there was no classified material that was shared in that Signal chat, Gabbard told lawmakers, but the NSA bulletin advises that even information that is not categorized as classified should not be shared on Signal, advising users not to share unclassified, non-public information on the messaging platform. Oh, you're saying, I get it. You're saying that it's not like they didn't warn them to be careful about your use of it, other than to say you could be hacked. Is that what you're saying? I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's a different idiot. That's what I could see John Ratcliffe testifying to that too. Well, you know what? The NSA advisory didn't tell us that we couldn't add journalists to it. So there. Be specific. This is the disinformation problem. Be specific. Trump just said blame it on the messaging apps, not the users. Y'all got that right. I think so. There was a lot that just happened, Teresa, with him, so. The NSA bulletin advises that even information that is not categorized as classified should not be shared on Signal, advising users not to share unclassified, non-public information on the messaging platform. Ratcliffe said Signal is a permissible use application that has been approved by the White House for use by senior officials. The group chat, Ratcliffe said, was a mechanism for communicating between senior level officials, but not a substitute for using high side or classified communications. Wait, what? Yeah, blame it on the guns. Both Ratcliffe and Gabbard were asked by Democratic Senator Martin Heinrich of New Mexico whether the Signal Link conversation included information on, quote, weapons packages, targets, or timing. Ratcliffe replied, not that I'm aware of. I don't know. I'm just a girl. And Gabbard said, same answer, and defer to the Department of Defense on that question. Go ask Pete. I think he's asleep in the bathroom. Both said they had no knowledge of the chat, including operational details of the strike in Yemen. That's right. We don't know. What do we know? Oh, here we go. Resistance Sentinel threat beefing. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look. This is a good way to. All right. God, I wish I could get this to like be dark themed, you know? Like I can't even. Actually, I guess. Oh, wait. What? Okay. Well, here, I'm going to make it bigger. Threat brief. Yeah, we just need a good guy with an app. For every bad guy. Well, there was like supposedly 18 good guys on with an app and one, I guess, bad guy. I don't know. Seems to me there was 18 bad guys on that app and one good guy who didn't decide to leak all the information. You know how lucky they are? Do you know how lucky they are that was the guy who was on the chain? Do you realize how lucky we are? Do you realize how dangerous this is for the fucking armed forces? Crazy. It notes that Google has identified Russian hacking groups who are targeting Signal Messenger to spy on persons of interest. Oh, they're employing the link devices features to spy on encrypted conversations. Oh, that's interesting. Moreover, there was a memo in 2023 obtained by NPR warning of using Signal for any non-public official information. That's interesting. I mean, do we really think that, I mean, they have government phones. They have access to any kind of communication they need. Why would they do it on their personal phones? Who does it benefit? All right, so let's go through some updates from Resistance Sentinel. Our friends at Resistance Sentinel issue kind of daily snapshots of what's happening in the resistance space. So it's always an energizing way to talk about it. All right, so here we go. Let's see. The criminalizing protest, framing protest as terrorism. You know, this is a rising concern and conversation for those who are resisting. Self-deleting conversations are beyond the reach of the Presidential Act, FOIA, and courts. Exactly, when not sent to reporters. Or you can archive them by sending them to a reporter. Attorney General Pam Bondi, the Bulldog, Pam Bulldog, that's what I'm going to call her, issued veiled threats against Democratic Representative Jasmine Crockett for criticizing Elon Musk and Tesla, labeling peaceful protests as domestic terrorism. Similarly, GOP Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene-Toes accused Crockett of inciting terrorism, which is funny because that's what she does just by existing. This escalation of rhetoric and potential criminalization of dissent, a common tactic of authoritarian regimes, represents a dangerous erosion of democratic norms and civil liberties in the United States. Let's see. So, yeah, this is, you've heard Pam Bondi and Tom Homan going after AOC and all of this. They have this very, they are definitely trying to push the window on what can be criminalized. And they are trying to, convince the public that these people are enemies of the state when in fact they are the enemy. So there. Great links. I'll put this link to the Resistance Sentinel in my description for the Twice Baked, so you can come back and check it out. Also share. It's also available on Blue Sky if you're on Blue Sky. I'm still banned on Twitter, so whatevs. I think this is a good time to just stop posting on Twitter now after I come back, and I'll just use it. But July 4th, 2025, Independence from Twitter Day. I think by that time, everyone should have downloaded all their data, and they need to get out. I don't care when you do it. Just do it. Monday and Thursday are Resistance Daily Brief. Tuesday is the Threat Brief, and there will be random articles on other days. The publication is trying to find a good schedule and topic choices. Great. I'm here for it. Disinformation and propaganda. The Trump-Musk regime is deploying disinformation to discredit resistance, framing critics as deranged, lunatics, violent extremists. This matters because such propaganda tactics seek to erode public trust in legitimate dissent and bolster authoritarian control. And we see it in the reactions to protecting billionaires, right? Oh, okay. Thanks, Gal. The attraction to protect billionaires, right, is ridiculous. Like this desire to just protect rich people is beyond the pale. And they're using it against people who are honestly resisting. Mm-hmm. Silencing and criminalizing speech. The Trump administration has escalated its crackdown on immigrant advocates and scientists, arresting a prominent immigrant rights activist and denying entry to a French researcher over critical messages. These actions signal a concerning trend of silencing dissent and restricting academic freedom. And this has information about Jeanette Vizquera, a well-known undocumented immigrant activist in Denver, was arrested by ICE agents at her workplace. She had previously sought sanctuary in a church to avoid deportation and had become a symbol of immigrant resistance. In a separate incident, a French space researcher was denied entry to the U.S. after border officials found messages on his phone criticizing the Trump administration's research policies. The scientist was accused of expressing hatred toward Trump and was sent back to Europe. So there's links to both of those stories. Lawfare involves the weaponization of the law legal system. Trump-Musk is escalating attacks on democratic institutions, targeting the judiciary, trying to undermine courts. defund the courts came up today, and that is something that they are pushing to do. Let's see, and unions as well, attacking labor unions. This is great. Escalating threats against judges and violence related to Tesla protests signal a dangerous rise in political intimidation and unrest. These events undermine democratic principles. God, these Tesla protests. That's great. All right, so that's your Resistance Sentinel. You have a good read. You can get into some resistance with our friends at Resistance Sentinel. I love it. It really does I love having the links. I really like having the links. It's really, really helpful. Thank you. Thank you to the team at Resistance Sentinel for doing it. Quoting my dad, the first shot of the Reagan Revolution is union busting. Agree. I mean, this administration is well down past the union busting path. I mean, it's like they're saying, hold my beer. It's just too much. It is an all-out assault, which is why it's really great to take it in as you can, take in the information, because the design of it is really to have a lot of things happening at once. Yeah, Trump had to pardon Kushner's dad and then made him ambassador to France and Monaco. He got a twofer because he's special, because he shares grandpa duties. Let's see, what's this? Petra. I like Petra. Let's see. Oh, Pekka. God, I always call him Petra. Pekka. The Politico story adds some interesting. This Politico story adds some interesting information about the Signal incident. This link that Gal just dropped is what I'm reading from. In most cases, one cannot download Signal onto official federal devices, meaning that these people were most probably using their personal devices. That's one. Actually, I'll show you this. Sorry. I can show you what I'm reading. Oops. Let's make it big so everybody can see it. Okay. One cannot download Signal. Okay, personal phones are hackable, and there's a good chance that these devices are already being monitored by foreign intelligence agencies. Yeah. Witkoff was in Moscow when he was added to the group, and if you don't think that he thought it would be fun to show all his Russian friends the plans to bomb the Houthis, you've got another thing coming. Signal allows disappearing messages, which we know, which would make any future investigations over these discussions impossible. I mean, are you telling me that it's nowhere on the Signal databases? So there's a Politico article, which there's not a link to it, but that's okay. I'll link it in the description. I'll find here it is. Here we go. It's so unbelievable. Listen, Matt Whitaker, yeah, I know, he's so disgusting. Oh my God, I hate you guys. All right, it's so unbelievable. Cyber world stunned over war planners using Signal. Regardless of app security, experts say communicating the military plans of the United States government in a non-classified space creates massive. Yeah, he created urinals for guys with big packages, I guess. I don't know. Or people that were tall. I don't really know. Okay, anyway. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Is a massive security vulnerability. Lawmakers and experts are sounding the alarm after revelations that cabinet members were using Signal to discuss war plans, saying the encrypted messaging app is still vulnerable to hacking. The Atlantic's Jeffrey Goldberg published a first-hand account on Monday detailing how he was mistakenly added to a Signal group chat where high-ranking Trump officials were discussing plans to conduct military strikes in Yemen. The Signal conversation included precise information about weapons, packages, targets, and timing, Goldberg said, describing the use of the open-source app to map out military strikes as shocking recklessness. Quote, I guess Signal is a few steps above leaving a copy of your war plan at the Chinese embassy, but it's far below the standards required for discussing any elements of a war plan, said Mark Montgomery, senior director at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. The app has become increasingly popular in recent months in Washington following the discovery of a massive Chinese government-linked breach of U.S. telecommunications networks that allowed hackers to steal a trove of American cell phone records and spy on the conversations of senior U.S. political figures, including Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. U.S. officials have since recommended that Americans use encrypted messaging platforms like Signal to better protect against hackers and our defense leadership. So, the app's security is viewed as fairly strong due to its robust privacy features and minimal data collection, as well as default end-to-end encryption of all messages and voice calls. The app also includes a function that deletes all messages from a conversation within a set time frame, adding an additional layer of data protection. But experts agree that it shouldn't be used by government officials as an alternative to communicating through more secure, sanctioned government communications, which Signal is not. It's so unbelievable, a former White House official granted anonymity to discuss the Atlantic's report candidly said Monday. These guys all have traveling security details to set up secure comms for them wherever they are. The former White House official pointed out that members of Trump's cabinet, including the Vice President, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, among others, were likely using personal devices, since in most cases Signal cannot be downloaded onto official federal devices. This alone creates a host of cybersecurity issues. Their personal phones are hackable, and it's highly likely that foreign intelligence services are sitting on their phones watching them type the shit out, the former White House official warned. Defund oxygen. Jacob Williams, a former hacker at the NSA and vice president of research and development at cybersecurity consulting firm Hunter Strategy, said Signal is not accredited for classified data. One of the biggest risks of using Signal, according to Williams, is where the data can be stored. People can link Signal messaging to a desktop application, he said. This means that Signal data is being delivered to potentially multiple desktop and laptop computers where it isn't being stored in a phone's secure enclave. That data is then at risk from commodity malware on the system. Oops. Signal users also aren't able to tell which contacts have accounts linked to their desktop, so the risk can't be adequately evaluated, Williams added. Signal did not respond to requests for comment. In the app's terms of service, it states that users are responsible for keeping your device and your Signal account safe and secure. Yeah, okay, not our problem. We told you what it does. Jen, are you leaving? Or are you saying hi? Wait, I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Sorry. You forgot to come back. Oh. Okay. It should go without saying that administration officials should not be using Signal for discussing intelligence matters reserved for the Situation Room, not to mention doing so incompetently by including members of the public, said House Homeland Security Ranking Member Benny Thompson, who has oversight of the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency. Boy, I bet our next few days are going to change. We're probably going to get a bunch of hearings that we weren't anticipating. Ugh. House Foreign Affairs Committee Ranking Member Gregory Meeks called on Chair Brian Mast to hold a hearing on what Meeks described as the most astonishing breach of our national security in recent history. I'd say. I don't think people actually realize how deep this is. I really don't. Both the Senate and House Intelligence panels are scheduled this week to hold hearings on the 2025 Annual Worldwide Threats Assessment, which we watched the Senate one this morning. A report on the biggest emerging threats globally released by the Director of National Security annually, with Gabbard and other top administration intelligence officials set to feature as witnesses. House Intelligence Committee Ranking Member Jim Himes from Connecticut said in a statement Monday that he was horrified by the Trump's administration discussion of strategic military planning on Signal and plans to ask the witnesses about the use of the app to plan the attack in Yemen. Quote, these individuals know the calamitous risks of transmitting classified information across unclassified systems, and they also know that if a lower-ranking official under their command did what is described above, or described here, they would likely lose their clearance and be subject to criminal investigation, Himes said. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who until January served as the ranking member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, will not be on the panel of witnesses this week, but participated in the Signal chat. Oh, are you not feeling good, Marco? Are you sick to your stomach? A former intelligence and security official, granted anonymity to discuss the handling of likely classified information, noted that the situation could have been averted if the U.S. government had a chat service certified to handle classified information. Quote, in the absence of a solution and given the fast pace of national security affairs, people will resort to balancing their perception of the risk with the operational pressures of the day, including putting service members at risk. Let's think about that. Let's think about what this is. This isn't just a oopsie. This is embarrassing. Okay? This isn't just embarrassing. This is putting people's lives in danger. Forget Signal. Just do it over a dating app. Oh, I'm glad you think this is funny. I'm glad you got your bit in there. That's really great. Fuck you. Hey, ill-timed comedy. Yeah. Oh, you guys are talking about OSHA? Yeah. Aw. Yeah, I know. He really did kill unions, Reagan. Wow. What a day. Woof. It's strap in, kids. Strap in. Make sure you're subscribed, okay? I know this is like Jared and WhatsApp. Oh my God. It just keeps happening. It just keeps happening. Why does it keep happening? Why? Why are we here? What's happening? What? Like the girl from Poltergeist. What's happening? Law dork Chris Geidner has a pretty good article on the war against the rule of law. Ooh. From Sunday? I'll take a look at that. Maybe we could read that tomorrow morning. Sounds good. Yeah, I wonder who's going to be the corporate sponsor for the White House Easter egg roll. Jim Nalgren. Probably Signal. Probably Signal. Yeah. Yeah. Probably a lot of people using that now. Yikes. All right. Hey, it's Documentary Tuesday. I don't know what we're showing tonight, but I'll have something really, really, really good to show tonight on Documentary Tuesday. Movies at the Discord. Please come. It's going to start at 6 p.m. Pacific in about less than 5 hours, 9 p.m. on the East Coast, etc. And I promise you, it will be a great movie. I don't know what it is yet, but it's going to be great. Oh, did you find it? Okay, wait. I want to read this. Can I read it? How long is it? I kind of want to read this. Can I read this? Would you guys put up with that for a few more minutes? If I hung out and read this? It'd be great. Oops. Thank you for finding that. All right, so this is a Substack, Subsnack from Law Dork, which is Chris Geidner, who has some really great articles. Really great articles. And so this is his column on presidential actions preventing abuses of the legal system and the federal court. Presidential memo. President Donald Trump does not like being constrained by laws, norms, or anyone else. That has been known for a long time, since long before he was elected president in 2016. When you're a star, they let you do it, Trump infamously told Billy Bush in 2005. Now in his second term in office and nearly 20 years later, Trump has not changed. In fact, he has clearly expanded his vision and is now seeking to apply his anything goes amorality to the presidency. The problem with being a man who thinks he can do everything is that in this country, for now, people can and do tell you that you're wrong and that restrictions apply to you as well. Trump does not like that. In the wake of Chief Justice John Roberts' 2024 decision for the U.S. Supreme Court, holding that Trump has lifetime immunity from criminal prosecution for many, if not all, official presidential acts, Trump appears to feel empowered to act more aggressively and lawlessly this term. More than that, he is also acting to dismantle, diminish, and demean those institutions, entities, and people left opposing him. Over the past 4 weeks, Trump is taking increasingly to disturbing actions each week to undermine lawyers who have been willing to oppose him, or even just defend people who have different views than him. In that time, Trump and allies have also gone after, with increasing vitriol, judges who have ruled against his new administration's overreaching acts. Looked at clearly, there can be little doubt Donald Trump wants to and is working to destroy the rule of law. In the course of a month, Trump went from pulling security clearances of a few lawyers at a firm and reviewing their government contracts to issuing a broad threat to all lawyers that the Trump administration doesn't like all these lawsuits it is facing and is going to retaliate against the lawyers behind them whenever Trump officials decide they don't like the claims being brought, or even the way they're being brought. It is a chilling escalation that is made only more chilling due to the relative silence from the big law world, with a few notable exceptions. The legal community needs to get its act together now. In contrast to big law's silence and setting a strong example for what we should expect from others, 20 civil rights organizations, including the ACLU and NAACP, LDF, put out a joint statement on Saturday calling out Trump's actions as a dangerous tactic seeking to prevent the legal system from operating as an independent check on government authority. There will be no law firm business to save if Trump is allowed to render the law a nullity. A month ago, on February 25th, Trump directed the suspension of security clearances held by lawyers at Covington and Burling who assisted former special counsel Jack Smith during his time as special counsel. He also directed agency heads to terminate any engagement of Covington and Burling LLP by any agency to the maximum extent permitted by law, and to review all government contracts with Covington and Burling. A major big law firm, Covington and Burling, has about 1,200 attorneys. When the entire legal system didn't rise up in opposition to this retaliatory act by a vengeful president, Trump looked around and assessed the situation. They let him do it. Knowing that, Trump went after Perkins Coie the next week, on March 6, a significantly more broad order that included language that could even be read to bar Perkins Coie employees from federal courthouses. Trump's order was explicitly political. He didn't even pretend to hide his personal reasons for going after the firm. Section 1, Purpose. The dishonest and dangerous activity of the law firm's Perkins Coie LLP has affected this country for decades. Notably, in 2016, while representing failed presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, Perkins Coie hired Fusion GPS, which then manufactured a false dossier designed to steal an election. This egregious activity is part of a pattern. Perkins Coie has worked with activist donors, including George Soros, to judicially overturn popular, necessary, and democratically enacted election laws, including those requiring voter identification. In one such case, a court was forced to sanction Perkins Coie attorneys for an unethical lack of candor before the court. When Perkins Coie, another big law firm with about 1,000 attorneys, fought back, sued, and won a temporary restraining order against enforcement of multiple provisions in the order, Trump and ultimately the Justice Department, which Attorney General Pam Bondi has made clear exists to advance Trump's aims, went after the judge. Two of Bondi's political appointees filed a motion on Friday calling on Howell to recuse herself from the case. Signed by Chad Mizell and Richard Lawson, the filing alleges bias because Howell had ruled in ways Trump dislikes in a handful of cases over time, including this one, and came shortly after the final career DOJ lawyer on the case withdrew from representation. In the meantime, though, Trump himself kept moving forward with his attacks on law firms. On March 14th, 2 days after Howell's order, Trump issued a similar order against Paul Weiss, another big law firm with about 1,000 attorneys. Attacking Paul Weiss in part for having brought a pro bono suit against individuals alleged to have participated in events that occurred at or near the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021, on behalf of the District of Columbia Attorney General, Trump used this order to impugn pro bono actions of law firms more broadly. Section 1, Background. Global law firms have for years played an outsized role in undermining the judicial process and in the destruction of bedrock American principles. I'm sorry. It's the lawyers. Many have engaged in activities that make our communities less safe. You lawyers, you naughty lawyers, you stop making our communities less safe. Increase burdens on local businesses, limit constitutional freedoms, and degrade the quality of the American elections. Additionally, I'll say that John Eastman, he certainly did degrade the quality of American elections. Additionally, they have sometimes done so on behalf of clients, pro bono, or ostensibly for the public good, potentially depriving those who cannot otherwise afford the benefit of top legal talent. I'm looking at you, Rudy. The access to served by all. I'm sorry. I know this is serious. Files written of fentanyl. Exactly. Potentially depriving those who cannot otherwise afford the benefit of top legal talent, Rudy. The access to justice deserved by all. My administration will no longer support taxpayer funds sponsoring such harm. At this time, this time the firm blinked. As the New York Times reported, Brad Karp, the firm's chair, went to the White House to negotiate his way out of the order. As would have been obvious to anyone who has been awake at any point over the past decade, Trump declared victory in a way that overstated what Karp believed he had agreed to in his Oval Office meeting. Issuing a new executive order on March 21st, revoking the past week's executive order, Trump stated that Paul Weiss indicated that it will engage in a remarkable change of course. Well, here it is. Section 1, background. On March 14th, I signed... can I make that bigger? Okay, good. On March 14th, I signed Executive Order 14237, addressing risks from Paul Weiss. To address certain issues related to Paul Weiss, Rifkin, Wharton, and Garrison LLP, I noted that global law firms have for years played an outsized role in undermining, you know what I said. Paul Weiss is one of many law firms that participated in that harmful activity, so they don't get totally out of it, even though they capitulated. Earlier this week, though, Paul Weiss capitulated, and I never did meet him. He was a nice guy, but I'd only talked to him on the phone. Indicated that it will engage in a remarkable change of course. Specifically, whoever this Paul Weiss person is, has acknowledged the wrongdoing of its former partner, Mark Pomerantz. Oh, he wrote a book. And it has agreed to a number of policy changes to promote equality, justice, and the principles that keep our white people, our nation strong, including adopting a policy of political neutrality with respect to client selection and attorney hiring. Can they just do it because they don't like you? How about that? Because I have a feeling that might trump, no pun intended. Including adopting a policy of political neutrality with respect to client selection and attorney hiring. Taking on a wide range of, I think Republican lawyers might be stupider than Democratic ones. I'm just saying. Committing to merit-based hiring, promotion, and retention instead of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which actually it's not either or. Okay. I hate to break it to the white people, but you aren't good enough. How about that? Did you ever think of that? Did you ever think that might be the issue? That you might be the drama? Right? Yikes. Ay. Okay, where are we? What is this ramble? Okay, Mark Pomerantz, right. Taking on a wide range of pro bono, representing the full political spectrum. So you have to take the White House is telling a law firm what clients to take. Can we just stop there for a minute? Paul Weiss is a private business. It is a private business. And the government, so let me get this straight. The government is telling a private business who to do business with, who to hire, what kind of cases to take, What? How is this? I mean, hi, freedom idiots, freedom shitheads. I know you're not watching. I get it. You've already started the kratom. Yeah, and Paul Weiss. Next, they came for Paul Weiss, and Paul Weiss asked, "How high?" I'm not even going to read that. It's just stupid. The move is as embarrassing for Karp and Paul Weiss as it is dangerous for the rule of law and the nation. Multiple lawyers who reached out to Law Dork in recent days and used to work at Paul Weiss but now work in government or at other firms have cited their concern about the effect of Paul Weiss's capitulation on the rule of law. "I'm disgusted," one lawyer who left Paul Weiss to go into government told Law Dork. A former Paul Weiss associate questioned, "What kind of hope is there for smaller and less established outfits if a firm like Paul Weiss caves?" Sure enough, on Friday night, the day after Paul Weiss caved and hours after DOJ moved to disqualify Howell in the Perkins Coie case, Trump yet again went further. He issued a directive taking aim at all lawyers who litigate against the federal government. Maybe they should just be chuds then. Citing Rule 11 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, the rule that sets forth the basic requirements for lawyers' behavior in court and procedure for sanctions if those requirements are violated, Trump sent a memorandum to Bondi and Homeland Security Secretary Krispy Noem, telling them, Unfortunately, far too many attorneys and law firms have long ignored these requirements when litigating against the federal government or in pursuing baseless partisan attacks. To address these concerns, I hereby direct the Attorney General to seek sanctions against attorneys and law firms who engage in frivolous, unreasonable, and vexatious litigation against the United States government or in matters before executive departments and agencies of the United States. I further direct these bitches to prioritize enforcement of their respective regulations. But wait, what happened to Chevron? I'm sorry. Governing attorney content and discipline. You know what this feels like a little bit? This is what this feels like. That feels like feelings. This feels like feelings. Yeah, frivolous and vexatious litigation is how Judicial Watch and Heritage got us here, and the Federalist Society, and the Council on National Policy. Jesus. Oh, wait. Hey, go away. I want you to go away now. Why won't it go away? Oh, do I have to do? Oh, I see. It opened it in a Ooh, I'm not the smartest girl in the world. He also directed Bondi and Noem to refer attorneys, or also known as Midge and Malibu Barbie, to refer attorneys for disciplinary actions when they decide conduct appears to violate professional conduct rules and recommend reassessment of security clearances and cancellation of contracts where deemed appropriate. The order is nothing less than an open threat to all law firms that are litigating against the government. The legal community in America has a greater responsibility now than it has had at any point in most lawyers' working lives. Mark Elias, the former Perkins Coie partner and prominent Democratic lawyer who left the firm several years ago to start Elias Law Group, was named a target of the Friday night order. Unlike Paul Weiss, here was Elias's response. Elias Law Group will not be deterred from fighting for democracy in court. There will be no negotiation with this White House about the clients we represent or the lawsuits we bring on their behalf. Let's see. President Trump is attempting to dismantle the Constitution and attack the rule of law in his obsessive pursuit of retribution against his political opponents. Today's White House memo targets not only me and my law firm, but every attorney and law firm who dares to challenge his assault on the rule of law. President Trump's goal is clear. He wants lawyers and law firms to capitulate and cower until there was no one left to oppose his administration in court. Elias Law Group will not be deterred from fighting for democracy in court. There will be no negotiation with this White House about the clients we represent or the lawsuits we bring on their behalf. Our democracy is in peril, and the decisions made by lawyers and their firms may very well determine the future rule of law in the United States. Well said. Putting aside a moment Paul Weiss's capitulation itself, a paragraph in Karp's follow-up email sent internally on Sunday and published in full by David Latt says much about how big law firms whose lawyers so often insist that they are the leaders of the profession are failing themselves, the broader legal profession, and America in this moment. Quote, "We were hopeful that the legal industry would rally to our side, even though it had not done so in response to executive orders targeting other firms. We had tried to persuade other firms to come out in public support of Covington and Perkins Coie, and we waited for firms to support us in the wake of the president's executive order targeting Paul Weiss. Disappointingly, far from support, we learned that certain other firms were seeking to exploit our vulnerabilities by aggressively soliciting our clients and recruiting our attorneys." What? Wow, that sounds so whiny. Assuming what Karp wrote here is true, these are not the responses of a community of people who want to preserve the rule of law. They are responses of people who believe that they will be the ones to find themselves spared from Trump's vengeance. And they might, for a while. And yet, the problem is that their actions, their failure to rally to individual firms' defense, or even now, to rally against Friday's memorandum, are undermining the legal system in which they operate. If the legal community, all of its self-appointed leaders, do not call out Trump's disdain for the rule of law and its actions to destroy it, Trump will keep escalating his attacks, and eventually, these big law firms will be saving themselves for nothing. What is a law firm if there is no law? Yeah, Andrew Weissman is definitely a target. That was really good. Thank you, for that. I appreciate that. That was a good read. I'd heard about the Paul Weiss and the Perkins Coie stuff, but it helps to get a little more information about that, a little more context. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. What's with the EO for Jenner and Block? I don't know. I haven't read the recent EOs. I'll have to catch up on those. Man, I hope everybody got what they paid for. Actually, I don't. I don't want them to get what they pay for. I want it to stop. Stop. Anyway. Well, thank you for coming to this second session of Lolo. Holy shitballs. I will be back in Discord tonight with a documentary, TBD. Oh, wonkish. Oh, okay. Weissman worked at Jenner and Block. Okay. Yep. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't just started indicting people that were enemies of theirs. You know what I mean? Like, I'm actually surprised. I don't want to say it out loud, but I just did. But yeah, we have a documentary tonight in Discord, 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern, TBD. I'll find really a great one. I'm sure. We've been very lucky in finding good documentaries. And then tomorrow morning, I'm live again. And I just think we're going to have a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff on the schedule. So I hope you make Wake and Bake part of your day tomorrow. And every day, well, that it is open. Okay. Yeah, they do need crimes for that. I understand that. I understand. I mean, I guess that's the saving grace, is that they actually do need to at one. I mean, do they though? Oh my God. Reuters, Trump signed an executive order Tuesday that takes action against the London. Jesus. I mean, it's one after the other. This is fucking ridiculous. All right. Thank you for coming. I'll see you tonight in Discord. I'll see you tomorrow morning right here on YouTube. And I really, really appreciate your time and your energy and all the great interaction and all the great links. Thank you again for everyone who added to the show. I always appreciate it so much. It's really a group effort. All right. I'll see you later. Take care.